50 games this afternoon for the Dynamite Kid, Chris Judd, and what a 50 games it's been so far in his career. He's currently the Brownlow medal favourite for season 2004, and he picked up 3 votes last time these two sides met back in round 15 of last season. He had 33 possessions, kicked 3 goals as the West Coast Eagles smashed Carlton at Subiaco by a record margin of 116 points. Although, Glenn, you get the feeling, given the conditions and given Carlton's improvement in 2004, it'll be a much tighter contest this afternoon.
But it will be, and it'll also be interesting to see if Judd pushes forward at any stage today to, I guess, mismatch a few Carlton defenders.
Glenn Manton, a Carlton Premiership star. Time now to welcome a North Melbourne Premiership star from 1975. Good afternoon and welcome to Sam Kekovich.
Good afternoon, Jason, and good afternoon, Glenn. And what a magnificent day. Overcast conditions prevail here. But I'll tell you something, Jason, that speaks volumes for the groundsman here at Carlton. Because as you know, Melbourne was deluged by a torrential downpour over the preceding 48 hours of biblical proportions. And this track really is it's absolutely lightning fast. Traction won't be a problem.
One of the best surfaces in the competition, no doubt about that, as the two sides line up. On this most significant of weekends on the Australian calendar, please join with us now in paying our respects to those brave men and women who selflessly served our nation, and indeed those who continue to do so, as we pay tribute to the Anzacs on a very special Anzac Day weekend of AFL football.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Australian Football League and the Carlton and West Coast Eagles football clubs invite you to join with the coaches, players and umpires as we stand to observe a minute's silence to honour the Anzacs and all those men and women who have followed in the service of their country.
Sport, and personally think it's the most important day of the Australian calendar, Anzac Day, and it's a fantastic way to pay tribute to those who have fallen in the service of our great nation. As we head boundary side for the first time this afternoon, here's Tiffany Cherry.
Well, I've got one of the stars of the precursor game today with Debbie with me. Debbie, 20-point win for Vic Metro. It's a great opportunity for the girls to really show their talent in front of an AFL crowd.
That's right. It's fantastic that the girls can come on and play at Optus Oval. We were lucky. We did beat Country by 4 goals, and last year they won. But, yeah, just the exposure and playing in front of a bit of a crowd, it's fantastic.
Now, you trained with the Hammerheads last year, and you obviously the big debate about women playing football with men. What's your spin on the argument?
Well, I think that the girls do have an opportunity to play for the Victoria Women's Football League. We've also got a pilot program running out in the eastern suburbs for under 17. So I think once they hit the age of 12, they can play and move up to the Victoria Women's Football League.
Right, as we said, you played out there before. How's the condition of the ground?
Conditions are very greasy, very slippery. There is a bit of a breeze. It's actually a bit of a swirly sort of breeze, but yeah, it's a little bit greasy.
All right, we'll let you enjoy the game. And guys, just a thought to leave you with. I went to Carlton's president luncheon, and Ian Collins basically applauded the AFL for finding Brisbane over the AFL player rules breaches. And he basically said, if we're going to have socialism in the game, then it must be an even ground for everyone.
Thanks, Tiff. Tiffany Cherry, keep us up to date with everything that's happening at ground level right throughout the afternoon. Coming to the bench for the Blues, Morrell, Prendergast, McCormick and David Clark. Set for a big game, this one. Very important game, particularly for Carlton. West Coast, we know, Glenn, need to rack up wins on the road. They're worth their weight in gold. If they're going to finish in the top 4, they need some away wins. They'd fancy themselves this afternoon. But as we mentioned, this could be a real danger game.
Basically, any game on the road for the West Coast Eagles is worth double. But the bottom line for the Eagles today is they are on basically a level playing field. They've got experience with their coach behind them, who's had time at Carlton, knows the ground, knows the conditions, and I guess, a lesser extent because of the personnel changes that Carlton have put through, he does know some of the players on the field.
West Coast have been poor starters in Melbourne this season. They trailed the Western Bulldogs by 34 points after 19 minutes in round 1. And then Essendon led them by 8 goals to 0 in round 3 after 19 minutes. They can ill afford another sluggish start this afternoon. There's the Carlton midfield 4, French, Stevens, Camporelli and Johnson.
Yes, and the quartet for the Eagles, of course, Kerr, Judd, Cox. There's a lot to be expected of him, and of course the brilliant Cousins.
Set to go, round 5 action, Carlton and West Coast at Optus Oval. Thanks for joining us right around Australia. Sit back and enjoy this one. Cousins through his hands, stripped by Spawn. Fletcher. Out to Cousins, first effective disposal. Out to Hunter. Gets it going forward for West Coast towards Staker. Teague's got the job on him. Bannister to tidy up for Carlton. To Lappin. Advantage was paid. Umpire will bring it back. Too high on Jordan Bannister. Go to the wing. Another free kick off the ball for holding. It's going Carlton's way. It's going to DeLuca against Quinton Lynch. So they were setting up for that marking contest. DeLuca plays on towards half forward. Favola's his target. Tapped away by Carroll. And we're punter at the back just to tidy up. Some pressure from Favola. One bouncing out.
Already, Jason and Sam, we see the matchup of young Carl Norman down on Matera. So a little bit of a la Essendon happening for the Carlton side early on.
Indeed so, Glenn. The boundary throw-in, centre wing on the member side of the ground. Cox in front. Cousins couldn't quite handle it. Pack of players converge the ball. Play on. Johnson's in there. And finally, the umpire, no alternative but to bounce the ball between the boundary throw-in and, of course, the centre of the ground. And as the late, great Jack Dyer once said, Glenn, when asked to cross and give a report on the ground conditions, terribly dark here, he said, this place reminds me like the black hole of the Dakota. And, of course, the Cox got the knock away to Cousins, already proving a handball. On his hammer there was Camporelli, twisting and turning this away and that away. Got it on the left foot, got it to Embley, and Lappin in front of Morrison takes the mark. So Lappin just outside the 50-50 on the member side of the ground. Play straight on. A centering kick, a high ball. Whitnell the target. Oh, almost cut. A quick handball off to the running Johnson. Up to centre half forward. Looking there for Favola. Poorly balanced. The race for the ball's on. Coming across to Luca. A quick handball out the first player. Back into the fray. Carlton trying to break clear. Johnson's first kick in football. Buried across half back. And once again, a pack of players converge. And almost a wasted opportunity there for the Blues. Glenn.
Look, already we're seeing a number of players take a bit of a tumble out on the ground, and I think a few players have underestimated the surface here today. It will shift under your feet, and long screws are required.
Andrew Walker with his opening kick in league football. Ordinary bounce. Johnson went in the ruck for the Blues. Davies through traffic, tried to get boot to ball. In over the top of it. He's taken down by Hunter. Johnson, so good in close. Now to Bannister. Releases Stevens. Flying snap to the pocket. Out of bounds on the full in the Social Club pocket for the Blues. Stevens and Kerr. At each other early. Comes out and finds Braun. Defensive 60 for the West Coast Eagles. Long to the wing. Staker and Embley. Scotland at the back. Handball to Lappin. He's got some time to set up. Has a bounce, waits for an option to present itself. Will go to 50. Whitnell is the target. He'll come across the contest. Off the head of Hunter, spills to Johnson. Advantage paid, and he'll find Favola. Dropped what he should have taken, and an opportunity to go begging for the Blues. West Coast away now. Morrison has got the run of it. Doesn't get a kindly bounce. Favola there to pressure, but numbers will win out. Carroll, time to stop and prop, and now link up with Morrison. Could be a big turnover from Brendan Favola. Morrison will spear inside 50. Teague in the best spot. He's worked off it by Sampi. Lappin at the back, wrapped up by Embley. will have a bounce about 35 metres out from the West Coast goal, and Brendan Favola had it spent before he got it.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. But interesting off the ball to see Walker going towards Judd.
Umpire throws it up quickly. French takes it out of the ruck, gets boot to ball, caught one over the shoulder, and he'll take the relieving free kick from defensive 35.
Here's Carlton kicking towards a legend stand end. In fact, the Eagles comes straight across the face of goal, and Campriali with the ball. Norman's made position to him in front of the Elliott stand, or formerly the Elliott stand. Runs to defensive 50, kicks long to the centre wing. A pack of players there. He's DeLuca. He's worked under the ball well. But coming across, Stevens with great dexterity picks the ball up inside 50. An opportunity here for the youngster. Walker, he runs into trouble. However, the umpire has deemed that the ball was out of bounds on the centre wing on the members' side of the ground. But quite an impressive debut by young Andrew Walker, Glenn.
Absolutely, he's in the thick of things and he's copping a little bit of attention behind the play.
The two big talls, very circumspect, mindful of their responsibilities to their respective charges. Cox works his big body in front, picked up there beautifully by Carlton and worked it across, and finally finds Lappin, centre of the ground, squares the ball, looking for DeLuca, punched away, picked up by Wirrapunda, in the scrim to kick to the centre of the ground. Cousins, who's been fantastic, and now a spearing kick up into there looking for McDougall. He couldn't quite hold it, a kick off the ground into vacant territory, and Stevens, fortunately, it's Teague in fact. Teague kicks the half back line, and big Barnaby French there. Oh, shakes off in that tackle there. Handballs up to the running Lappin. Lappin, one bounce, kicks long, up to half forward. Oh, DeLuca slips at a critical stage, recovers and takes a fine mark just outside attacking 50, and then squares the ball. And at the half forward there, Campriali on the second attempt has taken a fine mark over Wirrapunda.
It was a good kick, it was to space, and Campriali did take a great grab, but Davies has pushed forward on a number of occasions on his own.
Yes, a well-weighted kick, and Campriali was good enough. Wirrapunda was caught underneath the ball, and now an opportunity for Campriali to register the first score, and a major 40 metres directly in front. Carlton kicking to the Robert Heatley stand end. Of course, all their loyal throng will be up in arms. You don't have to worry about the outcome here. You'll see the Carlton faithful rises one. Campriali lines up, puts boot to ball, and gauging by the response, it is a minor score.
Or rises none, as the case may be. Sam, on that occasion. Behind to Campriali, the Blues looking good early. 26 possessions to 15. Glenn just controlling the football.
At this stage they are, but it is early days, and I think they'd look to move the ball into their forward line in a more creative fashion. They seem to stagnate a little bit around the wing here.
Under with the kick in. Comes to the broadcast side. Emily the target. The kick needed to be precise because it was 2-on-1, and it was. It was a beautifully weighted kick from Wirrapunda. Dangerous inboard to Fletcher. Got away from Whitnell. Goes to centre half forward. Bowyer and Sampi. Staker at the back. Hits the deck. It's gathered by Teague. Chance for the Blues to centre half forward. Whitnell will come from the side. Got hands to it. Never really a chance to mark. Tidying up with Stevens. Good vision. Into the path of Scotland. Can get it and go. Runs to 25. Measures it and drills it for the opening goal. Scotland pushing forward. West Coast had played their zone from half back. They turned it over at centre half forward. Carlton broke hard. Scotland found some space, and Stevens found him.
Tremendous vision. Would have been very easy to bomb away and just put it towards Brendan Favola, but just at the last minute he just pulled the kick wide, found an open Scotland.
Very handy pick-up, Heath Scotland. Already had 4 possessions and a goal in this game, averaging 23 touches a game in his opening 4 games in the dark navy blue. Carlton fans delighted with that acquisition over the summer.
Yes, an impressive start by the Blues. 1-1-7, the Coast yet to score. Back in the centre of the ground. Plenty going on off the ball, but more importantly, Cox, and there's the whistle again prior to hostilities commencing. It's a free kick, and it will go to the West Coast Eagles. An infringement inside, so that will certainly incur the ire of John Worsfold. He goes out wide, looking there for the West Coast Eagles. Numbers in Waters. Waters hotly pursued there by young Walker. Twists and turns. Get it to Morrison. Tackled by Lappin. Back to Waters, twisting and turning. And then there's a free kick paid, and will go in the way of the West Coast Eagles to Chad Morrison. About 70 metres out, about a kick and a half. Wedged in on the half-forward line, outside attacking 50. He squares the ball. He's found Braun. Braun in a more central position. Plenty of movement inside 50. On a lead there is Kerr. He's ignored, and he comes right across to the lead of Lynch. Lynch from half-back has ran. It's a shocking kick. High in the air and coming across and taking a safe mark is for Carlton. Yes, Walker will relieve the pressure, go wide out the centre wing. Braun overruns, he's tripped in possession, and in the scrim that handball coming across quickly. Pack of players converging, loose ball, the umpire says play on. The crowd want a free kick. No, says the umpire. There's still, and a quick hands came out to Johnson, picked up by Sampi, but once again intercepted there by Lappin. Lappin gets the Camporeale, paddles it in front of him, but he runs out of tarmac and over the line and out of bounds for another boundary throw in. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground. We've played almost 10 minutes in the opening term. Carlton 1-1-7. The Eagles get the score. Yes, centre wing on the outer side. An indiscriminate kick by Carlton. Up to the half-forward line. Favola in front. Hotly hammered by Carroll. Picked up by Walker. A hurry kick up to half-forward. Oh, a wonderful mark there. And it's paid to Davies. Davies squares the ball across. He's looking for Whitnell. Whitnell, this will test his pace. Cox, beautifully done. The big man with great dexterity at ground level, got the ball, and now it's coming across the half-forward line. Lappin once again runs into some heavy traffic. Picked up here by the Eagles, an opportunity, twisting and turning. Sampi ultimately ends up with it. Handballs it across to Morrison. Morrison lively, one way then the other to Matera. Back to Lappin. Oh, Lappin intercepted, beautifully done. Gets the ball, centre wing on the member side. The race for the ball. Once again there is Wirrapunda, and hotly pursued by Carlton. And over the line by young Davies, and they run out of tarmac and over the line and out of bounds. Centre wing, there's Big Cox. What an impressive display this was, Glenn Mountain. Yes, we're just having a couple of technical glitches at the moment. Ball thrown in centre wing on the members' side. Cox once again got it down. In the scrim, that handball out there, picked up by Fletcher. Fletcher's hurry kick up to half forward. Big pack of players. Punched away by Norman for Carlton. Cousins at ground level. Beautifully done. Trying to shake up the tackle. Walker did well. At ground level, traction perhaps maybe a problem. I thought these conditions, despite the torrential downpour, that this ground is in perfect condition. But obviously underfoot, it may be a little heavier than most perceive. The ball is thrown up now. So Barnaby, French and Cox. French got it down, picked up quickly by Sampi. A hurry kick up to half forward. An opportunity on that occasion went begging there. Should have done better, Staker. Picked up there by Norman. Whipped out a handball once again to Houlihan. Houlihan, he's got numbers. Carlton can run out here. Take one bounce. Oh, he slipped at a crucial stage, but he's got enough to recover Thornton. And then kicks it wide, centre wing on the outer side of the ground. The race for the ball, Favola in front of McCormack. Favola paddles it in front of him. He's let a couple of good opportunities slip by. Glenn Mountain.
Just have to wonder about the bouncing of the ball as soon as you take off with it. I think you've got to run your 10 yards and then bounce the ball.
Yes, indeed so. Ball thrown back into play. Cox did well. The Grant Fletcher couldn't quite control it. Paddle it in front of him now is Braun. Braun brought to ground by a number of Carlton players, and then he's caught underneath the ball. The umpire deems that, yes, to be in possession. There was prior opportunity. Carlton on their bikes hurriedly. Whitnell the target. Oh, pushed in the back. Play on, said the umpire. Carlton fans, they're running into a Favola at ground level. Pushing and shoving, players converging. Oh, Walker beautifully across his body, across to Davies. Davies snaps and goals.
I think it'd be fair to say there, Sam, that Walker just showed where his bread's buttered, picking up the ball off the ground and dishing it out for a very, very good score.
What a beautiful piece of clean hands that was from Andrew Walker. In traffic and under pressure, flipping Davies into open space. We'll have another look at it. Plenty of players around this one. It was a hot ball. Look at that one-handed gather, and in one move and out to Davies. Beautiful left foot snap, just curling it inside the post. Great start for the Blues. Carlton 2-1, West Coast yet to score. We spoke of West Coast sluggish starts. It's happening all over again for them this afternoon. Stevens out of the middle to Camporeale. Gets boot to ball, inside 50. Davies will fly over the back. Well-timed fist from Carroll. Wirrapunda with Favola on his hammer. Wirrapunda kept his feet. Favola lost his. Wirrapunda short and finds Ben Cousins for his fourth touch this afternoon. Kicking forward.
Loose player is Kerr.
Judd has it.
Who's got the big job on Judd, Glenn Mountain?
Well, at this stage, they're rotating it through. There's no one specific player taking him on, although it looks like Bannister at this stage has gone to him.
Cox just backward to centre wing. Catesy wants to kick long. Kerr. McDougall will arrive at the back. Thornton the double fist towards the boundary line. They're breaking down across half forward at the moment, the West Coast Eagles.
Absolutely.
Carlton, predictably, going with Norman on Matera, allowing Whitnell to push forward and stretch West Coast at the other end.
I think the West Coast also have to be mindful of Matthew Lapham.
Very crooked bounce from the boundary umpire. He threw it almost back into the middle of the ground. Kerr away from the congestion. Opportunity for Matera. Norman turned around at the crucial moment. Staker at ground level. Couldn't get the hands free. Had a couple of players in space. Johnson wrapped up. He managed to get his hands free and get it out to Teague. High ball will come straight back though. Mark taken by Adam Hunter. Hunter looks up. Embley leads inside 50. Go towards centre half forward. French will drift across the pack and at the back. Very well judged mark by Brett Thornton, who started well against Andrew McDougall. Wants to play on. He'll go short and find Walker for his 4th touch. Carlton fans already salivating at what they're seeing from this young man. Lappin over the top. Stevens in an open space. Out in front of Camporelli. Went to ground. Chance for a turnover here. Braun to Fletcher. He's got a man forward of the ball. Waters. Handball missed its mark. And Walker in there again to slap it to the line.
Well, already we're seeing the outer wing here at Optus Oval today is very, very, very light underfoot.
Yes, indeed, so a little bit misleading. As the boundary throw in some ominous signs, some cloud cover above, perhaps rain may be imminent. Pack of players there at ground level, comes out to Cox, who's been terrific. The ball comes out, a high ball, centre half forward. Pack of players fly. Thought was terrific with a good fist. At ground level, oh, some heavy traffic there. Oh, players with scant respect for their bodies. A high ball kicked up there by Spawn. Up the centre wing. Walker was up high, picked up by Camporelli, run down by Morrison. Loose ball picked up by Johnson. Hurried kick up to the forward line. The race for the ball. McCormick in front of Favola. Comes out to the member stand with a hurried kick. Cousins got a cruel bounce but did well enough. Got it down at ground level. He's got Kerr there to assist him. One way, then the other, and then a spearing pass to the centre of the ground. And he has found Fletcher. Wasted no time. A quick handball. Back the old 1-2 to Cousins. A high ball now. Lynch at the back. Although there was Thornton at ground level. Lappin, who's been terrific. And a very crude and very lazy nudge in the back relieves the pressure for the West Coast Eagles, who are under siege. Lappin, who has been terrific across half-back. And Glenn Mountain, you played plenty of football with him, but he's played that mopping up role fantastically.
He has, and that's what he specialises in, but a concern for Carlton fans and players alike with Brett Thornton down.
He goes out wide looking for Whitnell. But Whitnell just not holding on to his marks, and Quinton Lynch forced the error, and the ball trickles over the line and out of bounds. Centre wing on the outer side, Carlton 2-1-13. The Eagles yet to score.
Lappin with 9 possessions, Johnson 7 for the Blues, while Morrison, Cox and Cousins have 5 each. For the West Coast Eagles, Scotland to Camporelli and now Stevens. They're 3 frontline midfielders combined. Beautiful spearing kick, and Davies takes the sliding mark. Favola ran on for him. It is a wide open forward 50, runs to 35 and wastes a golden opportunity. That's 2 in the first quarter for Brendan Favola. And Glenn, I've got to ask you, in this situation, why doesn't he just keep running into the goal square and make a certainty of it?
Fine, Jason. Explosive pace. Why he doesn't use it in that situation, I'm truly not sure.
I don't think there's a rational answer for that one, Jason.
We're a punter. Straight up the middle to Fletcher. And he marks a defensive 35. So Brendan Favola having a dirty opening term. Missed a super mark, and now an open goal goes begging as well. Carlton really could have West Coast on the rack at the moment. At the moment, it's only 14 points. Braun to the wing. Cox takes the mark. 6th touch coming up.
Yes, and he's very good.
Goes to Staker. Embley there. High ball to 50. Whitnell will arrive late, comes thundering in. Slapped it clear, and a chance for the Blues now forward to the football. It's McCormick. He'll spear one to half forward, and Davies presenting across half forward well for the Blues in this opening term. Now to Favola. Has got a couple of metres on Carroll. Got an ordinary bounce again, and Carroll will clear. Stevens in a foot race. Casey Green to put some pressure on. Did well, forced a contest. Numbers there for the Blues though, and Stevens. Handball missed the body of French. Now he's got some problems. Slaps it to McCormick. He dives in over the top of it. They'll wrap it up. And in the end, a 0-0 draw, a good result for the Blues.
Absolutely, but if I'm a coach here, I'm incensed about the choice of footwear. The players are just falling to the ground far too easily.
Bounce. McCormick comes off. French down to Johnson. Handball back to Bannister. Missed the target. Under pressure from Cousins and also Staker. Umpire will come in and bounce 60 metres out from the West Coast goal. They are yet to score. The Blues have 2-2 on the board. We've played 18.5 minutes in the opening term at Optus Oval.
Yes, they're being forced wide. I think Dennis Pagan would be very happy with his charges. The ball comes loose, an opportunity for Carlton. The crash through a quick hands. Finds Johnson, who can find plenty of the Sharon at the moment. Hurry kick up to the centre of the ground, at ground level. An opportunity here for the Eagles. They did very well there through Nikoski onto the ground. A high kick by Fletcher to the forward pocket, and almost a mark there to Embley. But the Carlton defence in numbers forced the ball over the line and out of bounds just inside their attacking 50 in front of the former John Elliott stand, which is now the Hero stand. So boundary throw in about 45 metres around from the Eagles' goals. They're yet to score. Carlton a 2-2-14, approaching the 20-minute mark of the opening term. The ball, Teague, almost a hurried indiscriminate kick on that occasion there by Bannister, has once again found the boundary line as both Fletcher and Scotland, and the umpire is going to pay a free kick to Scotland, deeming that Fletcher was a little bit crude in the attempted tackle, rode him into the ground. Squares the ball dangerously to Teague, and Teague has marked an inside defensive 50. Carlton have got numbers there, and one of them is utilised across centre half back, and that is, of course, Lappin. Lappin has seen plenty of the Sherwin too. They've got about 10 or 11 possessions, so he comes around to the half back line to the members' side of the ground, and presenting himself there once again for Carlton is young Walker. What an auspicious debut, Glenn Mountain.
He's done very, very well. Both sides of his body have been used, and also above his head.
Whitnall with the ball, centre wing of the members' stand, drives Carlton up in the air. Oh, it's a fine mark. I'll play that to DeLuca. Claiming it also there for the Eagles was Brett Staker. But the first principle of football is, of course, being in front. And if you are, you'll get the spoils. Favola on the lead. But Cormick's been very good, and with superb judgment, superior judgment, drops back and takes the relieving mark in front of the George Harris stand in the right back pocket to relieve the pressure for the Eagles.
2 touches to Brendan Favola. Not working out for him at the moment. Long kick from Carroll, and Embley just works Spawn off the football and takes the mark. It's up. It's got some wide open space to centre wing for Sampi. 2. Bowyer by his shoulder. Clean hands from Scotland again. Links up with Stevens. He's under some pressure. Judd's picked his pocket. The Dynamite Kid's away. He's run to 50. Can make you pay from this distance. Goes for it and touched on the line. Good defensive work there from Brett Thornton. McDougall trying to work him off the flight of the ball. Thornton held his ground and saved the day for Carlton.
Did very, very well, but it was just very impressive stuff by Judd to see him just brush aside Johnson and attack the ball and attack the forward 50.
Lappin goes to himself from the kick-in. West Coast first score coming at the 21-minute mark of the opening term. Long bomb from Lappin. Plenty of numbers there for the Blues. It's a 4-on-2. Spawn went to ground. Chance now for West Coast. Through Jones. Handball went nowhere. And a smother off the boot of Bannister. Ricochets to Walker. Looks up. 6 touch. Out in front of DeLuca. And he'll take a free kick. Got one in the back.
Carlton players continually being in front first.
So Adam Hunter's gone forward for West Coast, and Staker's gone to centre half back onto Luca. Luca raking left boot to half forward. Nikoski across the back of the contest in the best position. Whitnell tried to flick it to Camporelli. Braun off the left. Tumbles it towards the line, and it goes out of bounds centre wing as Morrison comes off, replaced by Damien Atkins. Carlton with plenty of the ball in this opening term. 79 possessions to 58, but they haven't made it pay on the scoreboard through a couple of wasted opportunities. West Coast, some grave concerns over their starts this year. Johnson at the back of the contest. Into space for Favola. What can he do on this occasion? Gathers cleanly. High ball. Gave DeLuca little chance. Walker will fly from the side and force a contest. And at ground level, Fletcher to clean up to Adkins. He'll boot it towards the wing. Bowyer comes across, shoulder to shoulder with Cousins. Again, clean hands from Scotland, and the Blues are away.
Scotland chips it in, and the mark taken by Lappin. Lappin, who's been very, very productive this quarter. A long kick up to the half-fire. Whitnell, was he taken high? Claim the umpires. A hurry kick there by Houlihan into vacant territory. Favola. McCormick's been very good. At ground level, oh, that was that high to Rowan Jones. I think it was a little crude. The umpires saw it that way, and once again, they've certainly been under siege. And let me tell you, they could quite easily have embarrassed the West Coast Eagles here, Glenn Mountain.
Absolutely could have embarrassed them early, but it just hasn't happened, Sam. And I think the bottom line for the West Coast Eagles is they have to be first in for the ball.
So Jones with the ball in the deep in their defensive 50. A high ball out to centre wing. DeLuca up. Pack of players. Oh, Stevens with great dexterity got the hands out. Got it across there to Spawn. Spawn on his bike. He was run down. Picked up by Scotland, who's been very good. Got it to this impressive youngster, Walker. Where's he been? The kick, and it is found Houlihan. Houlihan, second rating in the kick department in the competition. Whitnell up too early. Coming across there is Hunter. Hunter being attacked there by the Blues, but coming across there is Sampi. Sampi 2 bounces, 3 bounces. He's approaching half forward. A long kick deep into the forward line. Matera at the back, pushing and shoving and trying to get back onto the ball, but it's got enough carry and it rolls through for a minor score.
Well played by Carl Norman there, 10-15 metres ahead of Matera, unable to find space, therefore forcing the kick long.
Brendan Favola off, just having a couple of words to some members of the crowd who were getting into him as he was coming to the bench. Lappin with the kick in again. 12 disposals in the opening term, just rebounding off half-back for Carlton.
He'll play on here, I'd imagine.
And he does. Again to come to this long bomb to the broadcast side. French the target. Teagle fly from the back. Carroll there as well. No one can bring it down. Houlihan to Walker. Now to Johnson. Walker up to 8 touches. Johnson poised under pressure. Farmed it out to Stevens. We're starting to see the core of a top-line midfield developing in this Carlton side. Whitnell contesting hard. Hunter takes him to the line, and Glenn, we're just starting to see Stevens, Scotland, Camporelli, Walker in there, Johnson as well, starting to mesh as a genuine midfield for the Blues.
Absolutely, and they're a smart midfield too. They're prepared to sacrifice for one another.
Throw in at forward 50. Lynch a backhander, ineffective. And over the top of the ball is DeLuca, who's provided another dimension to this Carlton side across half forward. It's been a huge bonus for the Blues, taken at pick number 72 in the draft last season. Speculative pick that's paid off for Carlton thus far in the season. Lynch to the wing. Jones and Houlihan. And the boundary line wins with 10 seconds remaining in the opening term. Dennis Pagan and his coaching panel would be delighted with the application of the Blues in the first term. Probably a little bit disappointed that they haven't made it pay on the scoreboard a bit more. They really have dominated the run of play, and West Coast have been very much on the back foot. French went looking for Spawn. Cousins committed his body and won the football. Now to Braun. Siren will beat the kick, you would imagine. And quarter time at Optus Oval. Plenty of positives for the Carlton fans to take out of that opening term. Having said that, West Coast will go to the huddle knowing they played reasonably sluggish football, but the Blues couldn't put them away. 2-2-14 to 2 behinds at quarter time. The goal kickers for Carlton, Davies and Scotland. Back with the second term action from Optus Oval right after this.
Well, the West Coast Eagles not hitting panic stations just yet. A couple of the boys changed their boots. As for the Blues, well, pretty animated. Dennis Pagan just telling the boys to keep the intensity up.
Second term at Optus Oval. Camporelli got the first kick. It was ineffective. Now Embley to Jones. Little hand off to Fletcher. Loses his feet. It has been pretty slippery out there. A lot of rain in Melbourne in the last 48 hours as Braun goes inside 50. Phil Matera yet to have a possession. Carl Norman started well on him. It's a school of thought around AFL circles to play a slightly taller player on Matera. We expected Norman to get the job this afternoon. He has, and he's done well thus far. Spawn. Fourth touch for Trent Spawn. Had the job on James Hird last week. At the moment running with Chad Fletcher. Goes to DeLuca. Off his hands, and the ball spills over the line for a throw-in.
We've got a bookend now for the West Coast Eagles with Cox in the forward line, providing the anchor target for the West Coast Eagles players to zone in on.
Throw in. DeLuca against Seaby. Got it down to Braun, and now Cousins in traffic. Walker and Stevens take him to the line. And we'll have another throw in. Ben Cousins, 6 possessions in that opening term. And the Blues focused, just shutting those dynamic West Coast midfielders down, not giving them space to move in. There's Judd. See him getting a little frustrated with the attention from Camporelli. Tries to burst through the Johnson tackle. Walker in over the top as well. And again, we see Carlton scrapping in close to ensure West Coast can't break to open space. They do get a free kick. It's Embley, and the break's on now, wide to Adkins.
So Atkins settling on the outer side, goes long, deep inside, attacking 50. Big Cox there, punched away well on that occasion at ground level, picked away by Lappin across his body. Poorly directed. and the mark has once again been taken by Atkins. Atkins outside attacking 50, looking for a lead. Wirrapunda on a lead. Also there underneath, plenty of blues there. Dropped the sitter, coming back into the fray, trying to keep the ball alive for the West Coast Eagles, but Carlton bottled them up. And the umpire, no alternative, Johnson on his bike, but the umpire says, no, you won't, mate. Back to me, and will affect the ball about 30 metres out from the West Coast Eagles. The ball is thrown up, and Cox doing the ruck work there. Also there was the Luca. Johnson, an indiscriminate kick, just went straight up the air. Rain-bearing cloud at ground level, and a quick handball came out. Back into the fray is Johnson. Tackled there by Wirrapunda, and it's a 0-0 draw. And once again, about 20 metres out will be a ball up. The Eagles desperate to get on the board with a major. They're struggling at the moment. Out of the indiscriminate kick taken there on that occasion by Camperali. Got it out to Lappin. Lappin a hurry kick out the half-back line. And at ground level to the very fine mark was Digby Morrell. Morrell, a long kick further afield. And Favola on a long lead. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground. Carlton building something. A squaring kick to the centre of the ground. Davies a target. Punched away on that occasion. Picked up by Judd. Oh, Judd beautifully manoeuvred and centre wing. The long kick comes out. Looking there for Jones. Jones with no one there to help him. And running across there is Walker. Braun, he's tackled as well. Favola's back there. Hurried handball. Went to no one and finally run out of tarmac. And over the line out of bounds. Centre wing on the outer side. I reckon Dennis Payne would be livid with Carlton's performance so far. They've had so much of the ball and give very little to show for it, Glenn.
I think livid's a very strong indicator, Sam, but I think he's getting what he would like in the form of Pagans, Paddock, and also some key matchups.
Stevens to Bannister. Now to Favola. Got a push in the back, said the umpire. No advantage on this occasion. Brendan Favola working hard. They've pushed Lance Whitnell deep to be their forward target inside 50. Favola moving up to centre-half forward. The kick will come in towards Whitnell. Morrell there as well. It clears the contest. At the back, Davies. Nikoski, the first gamer, linked up nicely with Wirrapunda. And the danger passes for West Coast. Lumbering after it is Seaby. DeLuca closing in on him from right of screen. Seaby got the hands free and dished it off to Cousins. Cousins across the body. Stevens up against Kerr. Kerr did well. Won it at ground level. Got it to McDougall. High ball. And Cox marks 75 out from the West Coast goal. Yet to score a major. We've gone 4.5 minutes in the second term. Cox to Cousins. Man alone inside 50 is Jones. Just slipped his opponent. Some miscommunication in the defensive 50 from the Blues. And Rowan Jones, who's had a reasonably flat season so far, averaging just 12 touches a game, can go back and kick for West Coast's opening goal.
Jones clearly benefits there from the attention that Matera receives from the Carlton backman.
So Rowan Jones hasn't scored in 2004. From just inside 50, won't score with that either. It's drifting across the face. Big pack of players. Bowyer there. Elected not to run it through. Instead, put it out into the path of Camperelli and Morrell. Good option from the Blues. Good attacking mindset. Camperelli long. Kick wasn't great, to the disadvantage of Whitnell. And Hunter picks it off with the greatest of ease. Playing game number 50 this afternoon, Adam Hunter, 22-year-old, originally from Swan Districts in Perth. Short to Lynch. Here's a booming kick. Tumbles it on this occasion to 50. Lappin worked under the ball. Spills to the back. Sampi under pressure. Norman in there as well. Free kick in the back. It's going to Ashley Sampi. And he is a deadly finisher. It's got 11-3 for the season. 11-4, in fact, behind this afternoon. There's Bowyer carrying him forward in the tackle. And Ashley Sampi. Chance to get West Coast on the board.
He's the sort of player you'd think, Jason, who has to kick 2 or 3 goals for the West Coast Eagles to be any chance in this game. And really, for the West Coast Eagles, the game starts here.
Sampi, Matera, their main strike options, don't need a lot of possessions to do damage to you up forward. But from 55, gives it a ride. It's drifting across the face. And through for a minor score. 2 behinds to Ashley Sampi so far this afternoon. The West Coast Eagles have 3. They're 3 behinds. The Blues are 2-2-14.
Stevens kicks to himself, brings the ball back in a play on. Bannister dropped what he should have taken. Teague, he's under pressure too. Matera claiming a free kick, but the umpire deems there's no prior opportunity and it will affect a bounce. Right on the attacking 50 of the West Coast Eagles. They're getting plenty of the ball, but unfortunately conversion an issue there. Cox got it down. Coming through is Kerr. Kerr a handball over top the Braun. But once again, there's a hold-up in proceedings, and a free kick will go to Carlton to be taken by Camporeale. Certainly lift his work rate a bit this game, Glenn Manton.
Certainly has.
A very important player in the Carlton machinery. A chip over top to Norman. Norman certainly had his troubles and undulations in recent weeks, but certainly appears his performance thus far to have been settled. Stevens, he's really added another dimension to this Carlton side. Goes out wide. An opportunity for the Blues to set something up now. And a kick up to half forward, looking for Whitnall. Will he get a kind bounce? Hotly pursued there on that occasion by plenty of defenders. Ball goes to ground. Picked up on that occasion by Nikoski onto his left foot. Hurried kick and a vacant territory settling on the outer side. An opportunity for Carlton here. Picked up by Bowyer. Once he's a long way down. A hurried kick up to half forward. Pack of players converge. Picked up on this occasion for the West Coast Eagles by Embley. A chip further afield and it runs out of bounds. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground.
We spoke earlier, Sam, of the expectations on young Walker today, but enormous expectations on Whitnall as well.
No doubt. 2-2-14 Carlton. The West Coast Eagles 3 behind. The ball thrown, Seaby, and also on this occasion DeLuca. They wrestle. The ball comes to ground. Sampi, indiscriminate kick off the ground up to half forward. The race for the ball. Teague's there. Teague also there at ground level. His length. Teague does well. Got it across to Johnson. His kick was well smothered. Opportunity here for Fletcher. Got it across to Atkins. A shot on goal by Atkins. In Judd, in fact, it was. Offline, and that is a rarity. He's got very silky skills and normally finishes off a lot better than that, but on that occasion, a minor score.
I was just going to say, Sam, Carlton will continue to play on from fullback here or find the shorter option.
The short pass comes in and Norman has marked it in front of the George Harris stand. A chip further afield, a Lappin right on defensive 50. He does waste no time. He's got Walker on his own centre wing on the member side. The youngster took a fine catch and just held up for a moment. He spears it across further afield. Looking there for Whitnall. Does well. The big man. Oh, shocking handball. Just into vacant. Nikoski. He's caught. Quick handball to Atkins. He's had the presence to get rid of it to Seaby. Seaby in turn. He's forced under enormous pressure. Goes back to Quinton Lynch. Lynch's hurried kick to the centre of the ground. Coming across. Judd. Judd across the broad in turn to Fletcher. An opportunity. A promising incursion build up here. Back to Kerr. Kerr's long kick into the forward line. Wirapunda. Norman's there. An opportunity for Wirapunda. Twists and turns across his body. And in the forward pocket. Opportunity for Thornton to relieve the pressure to half back. He's got Spawn out there. Onto Stevens by hand. Stevens, a short kick, has found Camporeale. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground.
Some space for the Blues to work in. Camporeale chips it over the top. Wasn't a great kick. Set Houlihan a task. He's got some numbers in support. Scotland to DeLuca. And he marks 55 out. He'll wheel onto the left boot. Will go towards Favola. Walker at the back waiting for the crumb. Johnson at ground level as well. Plenty of numbers for the Blues. Morrell to Walker. Through Spawn at 45. High ball to the square. Whitnall will have a couple to beat. And does. Just had the body strength to hold Hunter under the football, protect the drop zone. And Lance had him done a fair way out.
Would have been nice to see Cousins just attack the ball in the air there. Really just use his leap. He has got a strong leap and just make an attempt to spoil rather than sit and wait.
Well, Adam Hunter gives away 18 kilograms to Lance Whitnall, and we saw it there. Lance had the sit and was just able to prop and hold Hunter out. And in the end took a reasonably easy chest mark. And should go back and boot Carlton's third goal. From point blank range, Lance Whitnall. And the Blues get some return for their endeavour. Whitnall's got his first. The Blues have 3. So Lance Whitnall playing deep in this second term. Glenn, we've seen Brendan Favola just push up the ground a little bit on occasion. The two of them rotating through as Trent Spawn comes to the bench for the Blues.
Lance Whitnall has just been a focal point all day. He's probably pushed himself mentally to prepare for today with a lot of bad press during the week about his fitness and so forth, but all he has to do is present. And what he just did then was exactly what the team's required. He's an anchor target. He presented himself well. He allowed someone to hit him on the chest.
Well, he's been much maligned, Lance Whitnall. Lance Whitnall averaging 15 possessions, 6 marks a game so far in 2004. And adds a goal to his tally this afternoon. Back in the middle. Fletcher in over the top of it for West Coast. Camporeale and Clark working him hard. And again, we see the Blues content to at least break even in those contests and prevent West Coast breaking into open space.
Anytime the Carlton team allows the ball to spill from those types of contests, they're at the mercy of the West Coast midfield.
Plenty of players around this contest again. Every man with an opponent. DeLuca the tap, sharked by Cousins. And again, we see he's just consumed from all sides. And again, the Blues force another ball up. Ben Cousins a little frustrated. 8 possessions to him so far. Chris Judd also a couple of signs of frustration. And we see it again. Camporelli drives him into the turf. And the Blues just focused on putting body on body.
We see a lot of intent in this tackle, and it's all about the intent.
Realise it's where the game's going to be won and lost when you go up against the West Coast Eagles. Must prevent them from getting time and space. Judd on this occasion does, and look what he can do to Cousins. Over the top to Jones, links back up with Cousins, flips it to McDougall. Now Kerr will have to snap from the pocket. He does. Good pressure from the Blues, but we saw if you give them half an opportunity, the West Coast midfield can create something. Full credit to Carlton. They stayed right on their heels, forced it wide, and in the end, no score.
Yes, Carlton, good pressure being applied. Dennis Pagan to be happy as Houlihan's kick. Teague almost a fine mark. Not paid. An opportunity for Carlton to relieve the pressure at half-back. Morrell got the handball at the Camporelli, who spears in a beautiful pass and has been taken by Scotland. Scotland wastes no time on the half-forward line. Oh, Stevens fumbled what he should have taken by Fletcher. Braun in there to assist. Quick hands to Fletcher across his body. High ball, centre wing. And Johnson did very well. Johnson with the ball at ground level. Morrell's also got a ground number of players. The handball comes out, taken by Kerr. Kerr, Atkins hotly in pursuit. Loose ball comes out onto the left foot. DeLuca, a hurry kick up to half forward. An opportunity there for Nikoski, couldn't quite take the mark. And there an opportunity for Walker.
So Stevens we've seen go down. I think he's copped a very nasty corky from Chad Fletcher. Let's take another look at it. Bad news for the Blues, and bang, a big knee right into the back of the right hamstring.
Morrison's kick goes to the half-back line, and Sebi takes the relieving free kick. McDougall, in fact, it is. Thank you, Jace. McDougall's kick's a shocker, and coming across is Morrell.
So Morrell, backward to centre wing. We'll see Stevens come to the bench. Nasty cork, and on a day like today, it's 13 degrees, pretty chilly out there. They hurt even more than usual. Interested to see if he takes any further part in the game. Lappin, the fly came from Hunter, the spoiler against Whitnell. Morrell at ground level, swats a couple of tackles, goes to the voice of Davies. Whitnell tracking back. Instead, he'll go to the pocket and find Favola at 50. Open goal square for Brendan Favola. He spots it now. He'll attack the goal face. It's going to go to the square. Getting back is Norman. He'll let it bounce through. Good vision from Favola. Points to the critics in the crowd and says, how about that one? Brendan Favola, full credit to him. Had a dog of an opening term, and the Brendan Favola of 3 or 4 years ago, Glenn, you might see him go to the bench, drift in and out of the game, but his mental state these days, a lot more focused, a lot more determined, and we see him fight back in the second term.
It was a tremendous kick, and it was also very interesting to see both Thornton and Norman running the length of the ground to be down in the goal square as that ball went through.
Stevens trying to run it out. Carlton 4-2-26. The Eagles 4 behinds. We've played 15 and a half minutes in the second term. Carlton's endeavour and dominance in general play starting to tell now on the scoreboard. DeLuca the tap. Bounce evaded Walker. It was gathered by Morrison. Now to Kerr. Handball in hope. Some numbers there. Cousins to Morrison. And now they break through Adkins. Adkins will attack the goal square. Houlihan getting back with a flight and takes the mark on the last line of defence as we head boundary side. Here's Tiffany Cherry.
Expect Stevens to come back on. He's just trying to run out his corker. He said he's going to be okay.
Houlihan read the play beautifully, got it across to Thornton. In turn goes wide to Morrell, who's presented himself on 2 or 3 occasions. Pagan would be very happy, and Worsfold must be wondering what's he got to do to manufacture a goal. The kick looking for Whitnell. Up was Hunter at ground level. An opportunity here for Cousins. Twisting and turning, holding it up. Nothing to present itself. So now he's compelled to kick high. High to a contest. Would you believe the only guy there was Matera, surrounded by 3 Blues. In turn, taken by Scotland. Got it across to his teammate in Clark. Clark's kick. An opportunity for Johnson spearing pass. And Favola. Favola's marked. And Glenn, it's testimony to the work that he has done himself, because that first quarter, as Jason rightly alluded to, he may have gone missing, but he really has matured as a player.
Look, I think he's based his game around presentation, and whilst the first quarter wasn't the most, I guess, fluid for Brendan Favola, he still presented at the ball, and that is, I guess, filled over and spilled into the second quarter.
35 metres out, directly in front. You'd think this would be just a foregone conclusion, a fait accompli for Favola when you consider his enormous conversion rate. Dead die, deadly accurate, and no exception. A goal to the Blues. They're fifth, they moved to 5-2-32. The Eagles stranded on 4 behinds, almost 18 minutes gone, second quarter at Optus.
Well, as Favola fills the sticks with his second, Matera is on absolutely no impact on the game thus far at all. He's 0 disposals at this point.
Some danger signs for John Worsfold. The structure just not working at the moment. Brendan Favola with 2 goals in the second term. And Carlton 5-2, the Eagles 4 behinds. Starting to get out of control for West Coast. Seaby with the centre square infringement. He'll take the free kick. Off to Kerr. Goes wide, Hunter there. Spills to the back and Bannister. Things just coming off for the Blues at the moment. Out in front of Whitnell. Kerr closing in on him. He's got a couple of numbers over the top and uses them now. Camporelli. Thought about the go back to Whitnell. Will go inside 50. Favola to fly from the back. It's all West Coast. They spoil each other in the end. Carroll brings down the mark. Hand off to Kerr. West Coast trying to generate some run, but that kick just bouncing inside the boundary line, which is where we find Tiffany Cherry.
Nick Stevens has just come on for McCormack. He's got his legs strapped, a bit of anti-inflammatory cream. He is fine.
Good news for the Blues. He's having a good game, Nick Stevens, up to 13 touches. Lappin leads the game with 17. Scotland has 14 and Johnson 12. Kerr trying to get his team going. Bannister, ineffective kick. Braun links up with Cousins. Again, they're under pressure in close. Morrison just has to throw it on the boot. Lappin shins it straight to Bowyer. Play on the call. High ball to half forward. It'll bounce inside 50. Johnson tracking it back with the first game in Nikoski. Nikoski in over the top. Umpire will call for a bounce. 40 metres out from the Carlton goal.
Tremendous hands from Bowyer just a minute ago. Not only a tagger, but he's really worked on his all-round game. So it's great to see some strong hands in and under.
Ticking down to 5 minutes left in the first half. West Coast yet to kick a goal. Clark, kick smothered. Lynch tries to win it through the congestion. Bannister, tackled by Camporelli. Got it back again. Now to Walker. Throws it on the boot. Favola. Davies to Crum at the back. It spills to the front. Whitnell there. Morrell commits the body to hold it in. Kerr. Poise. Smothered. Stevens. Snaps. Misses. Fantastic work rate from the Blues at the moment. If they don't have the football, they are doing the hard things. They are smothering, shepherding, harassing, tackling. Tackles, in fact, in this game, Sam, 30-19 in favour of the Blues.
Well, that's often the difference, the 1%ers. And certainly being proficient, Carlton. Lynch kicks to himself, then kicks long to centre wing. Looking there for Big Cox. He's outmanoeuvred. Well done, Whitnell. He just palms the ball out to Barnaby. French by ground to Walker. What an impressive debut. A hurried kick, not so good. And parked underneath it is Judd. Judd, a quick hand pass onto his teammate in Carroll. They spear the ball right across. Atkins is the target. Atkins can run outside defensive 50. Hotly pursued on that occasion by Davies, who's been quiet this quarter, but he's been very good. Houlihan, an opportunity. Teague shepherds him off the ball well. Then he runs around in Matera. Got the handball out to his teammate there in Stevens. In fact, it wasn't Stevens,
Bowyer.
It was Bowyer. Bowyer's been very good. And the ball goes out of bounds, centre wing on the outer side of the ground. Carlton, 5-3-33, the Eagles, 4 behind.
Nick Stevens gone to full forward to give him a spell, Sam, and just let that blood flow get back into the leg.
Yes, well, he's a valuable commodity for Carlton. The Talls, they both wrestle to the ground, try to break clear his Cousins. But let me tell you, he's had some very, very close attention. He's been worn like a cheap suit. And on that occasion, picking himself up off the ground there was David Clark. So, with that dominant midfield being stymied, the Eagles finding it difficult to come into the forward line. Judd breaks clear with great dexterity, whips out a handball of Braun, who slips at a critical stage, but good enough to recover, goes one way then the other. A high ball into the attack 50, Jones there, and also coming out, dropping a sit of a mark was Morrison. A loose ball up in the air. Jones got it out, opportunity here for Fletcher, but also there was Bannister. Bannister ridden into the ground by Judd, and they ultimately run out of tarmac. And the ball is over the line. No, in fact, it's not, still kept in play. But now Carlton comes across in conjunction with Davies, and they make sure the pressure is relieved momentarily. Boundary throwing just inside, attacking 50 for the Eagles. They trail 33-4, deep inside the second term.
Throw in. Holding in the ruck contest, it's going to Carlton. And Barnaby French is having more of an impact around the ground in 2004. Really pleased Carlton fans and the coaching panel. And French with a relieving kick from inside his own defensive 50. Thump it long around the city wing. Big pack of players for this one. Morell in from the front, through the hands of Kerr. Cousins again, under pressure. Davies links up with Scotland. High kick into open space for Johnson to run onto. Needs a kind bounce and gets it. Can go inside 50. Runs to 45, measured it, and buries it for the Blues. Carlton looking very, very good in this opening half of football, but I guess equally, Glenn, West Coast looking very, very bad.
Well, there's some terrible signs for the West Coast Eagles. You wouldn't have thought Chris Judd would have just 7 possessions to this point, and you wouldn't think a player like Kerr would be at full back standing Nick Stevens. Very, very dangerous and ominous signs for the West Coast Eagles.
So Brett Johnson kicks his second goal for the Blues in 2004, his first this afternoon. Carlton out to a 35-point lead in the shadows of half-time, 2.5 minutes remaining. And the Blues just able to break into open space and do some damage. It's been a commodity that West Coast have not been able to get their hands on in the opening half of football. Camporelli wore a heavy one and will take a free kick. Coming up for his 12th touch.
Frustration.
Michael Braun not happy. Camporelli spears it inside 50. Whittle and Favola, it'll spill to the back of the contest. Favola, if he can get boot to ball, good pressure from Carroll, free kick. And gee, don't they look dangerous with Lance Whitnell, Brendan Favola, one out against their opponents inside 50.
Absolutely, look incredibly dangerous in the point of view that Brendan Favola leads up. Lance is an anchor target. It's two different matchups for the backmen to consider. Who will they sag off? Who will they go to? And on that occasion, unfortunately, the West Coast Eagles players were in no man's land. The
rain staying away, the best possible result for the Blues this afternoon, because if it had been wet and slippery, much, much more difficult for the likes of Favola, Whitnell, Morell to have an impact, whereas Matera and Sampi at the other end wouldn't have worried about it. But it's panning out that the West Coast youngsters in defence have their backs to the wall at the moment, and Brendan Favola a chance to kick his 3rd goal in the second term to extend the margin to 41 points. 2 minutes remaining till half-time, and he makes no mistake. Pops it over the top of the legend stand and out into Princes Park. Brendan Favola with 3 goals in the second term. We've sung his praises. It's a great result for the Blues to have him fight back in the second quarter.
Well, it's quite simply money in the bank, particularly from the weather point of view. If the weather does happen to close in, whilst it does look okay at this point in time, if it does close in, 7 goals in the bank, it's a very, very big ask for the West Coast Eagles.
Well, .45 plays 4, and the Carlton midfield well on top. The Eagles are really struggling there, and let me tell you, the Carlton midfield are certainly not intimidated by their more illustrious quartet. Their ground level Cousins, did he cop a high one? No, there was a free kick prior to that, and it'll go to Stevens. And what a major impact he has had on the game. Onto his right foot, it's a piercing kick deep inside 50, looking for Favola. Carroll over the back, couldn't quite hold it. Running out with it there, an opportunity for the Eagles to clear. They do so through Quinton Lynch. Goes out wide to Cox. He better pick it up because he's stranded there on his own. Just a willy-nilly handball taken by Judd, who was good enough to break a couple of inept tackles. Then speared a ball a half forward. And the mark has been taken there on that occasion by
Staker.
Who's been relatively quiet. High ball in the forward line with dropping back there. The Blues, well, they seem to have all the answers at the moment. And Thornton being very impressive. And Hunter on the mark. So Thornton with the ball deep into the defensive 50 in front of the George Harris stand. 7-3-45 to 4 behind. Not a major scored by the Eagles. A high ball. Underneath it was Teague. Morrison, Teague back into the fray. And that effort by Teague just typified the Carlton mood as a hurried kick by Johnson off the ground. Will it trickle over the line? And Hunter's there, but also coming over and forcing him over the line. In fact, it wasn't Hunter, it was Bukowski. And young Walker to the raptures of the Carlton faithful inside the terraces are absolutely thrilled with the debut of this youngster. Boundary throw in centre wing on the members' side of the ground. And Bannister works his way in front to Walker. Hurried handball finds the trusty hands of Stevens. Hurried kick up to half forward. On a slide there was Favola. Ran underneath it, driving back there to pick up the crumbs was Carroll. But he ran out of ground, and the ball is over the line and out of bounds on the attacking 50 for the Blues. So been a great quarter, Glenn, hasn't it, for Carlton?
Absolutely has, and their ball movement has exemplified why the score is the way it is. 7 goals to zip.
Bannister and Cox at ground level. A hurry kick there for the field by Quinton Lynch, centre wing on the members' side, and was that deemed to be on purpose by Lappin? The Eagles want a free kick. Embley's fairly vociferous, but the umpire says shut up and move on with the game. And the boundary throw-in to be affected, centre wing on the members' side of the ground.
Ticking down to half-time. Embley frustrated by Trent Spawn. Sampi through traffic. Pressure comes from Clark, but he got the handball free to Cousins. Swings it back towards half-forward. 6 seconds remaining on the clock. The Blues should see the danger pass. Lappin to Norman. They're away themselves, Carlton. They'll be beaten by the siren. Heath Scotland could have run into an open goal from there. Not to be. Super quarter of football from the Blues, and the Carlton faithful stand as one. They added 5 goals, 1 to 2 behinds in the second term. And it's Carlton 7-3-45, leading West Coast 4 behinds at the major break. Brendan Favola has 3 goals, all in that term. Singles to Whitnell, Johnson, Davies and Scotland. And as we run through the West Coast goal kickers, that's about it, unfortunately, for the Eagles. They've got some serious problems to consider at half-time. John Worsfold has thrown the magnetic board around a little bit in the second term. Nothing working for them at the moment, but as we know, they do have a dynamic midfield fleet. They'll be looking to get something going in the third term. We'll be back to analyse the first half right after this.
I just couldn't help but think at half-time, with this monumental lead they have, you throw Koutafidis back into the fray, it almost put them up into a top 8 contender. And might I just digress for a moment, just small consolation for the Eagles supporters out there. They had an emphatic victory in the Little League, 3-4-22 to the Blues, 1-1-6.
Second half starts at Optus Oval. The Blues by 41 points. French down to Camporelli. Tumbles one inside 50. Hunt has been under siege down there this afternoon. Links up with Kerr, who's tried hard to get something going for his side. Tumbles towards half forward. Adkins on the bounce. Shrugs Bowyer. Handball back to Cousins. Steps around Bannister. Off a step. Inside 50. It's a 4-on-1. And Matthew Lappin lining up for his 20th possession of the afternoon. Releases Norman. Kick goes wide to Scotland. Puts him under a little bit of pressure. He's got some time and space. Camporelli there for support. It's been the story of the day for the Blues. They've done all the team things. Camporelli's kick gave Johnson little chance, and we will have a throw in. It's probably the most pleasing aspect from Dennis Pagan, Glenn, is that they've just made sure that they're there, harassing, tackling.
Right across the day, their whole game plan has been centred around working without the ball.
Teague to Cousins. Inside 50. Lynch off his hands to Lappin into open space. Adkins has got a couple of metres break on Houlihan. Wheels around onto the left, spears inside 50, and again it's all Carlton. And Jordan Bannister takes the mark. West Coast with just 1 mark inside their forward 50 for the afternoon. And the ball's now with Thornton in the defensive goal square.
Yes, and Thornton, but the ball goes out wide to Lappin. How much of the pill has he got? He says it must be his own ball. And coming out for Bowler. Took a terrific mark for Bowler, centre wing, working hard, long way up the ground. And look, he's presenting himself, young Walker in the centre of the ground. A quick handball to Teague. Teague inside 50. The Blues in abundance here, and the mark has been marked. Take it inside 50 for Carlton by Houlihan. Well,
it's very strong ball movement, Sam, but I can't help but think that it's more of a belief in the players now to be able to bring the ball back into the middle, run it through, use options, and then spot a free target.
And Glenn, just a quick word on Heath Scotland. I know Collingwood let him go, that they thought he was a peripheral player, but I tell you what, now that you look at these performances this year, it must have been him or O'Brien, but Scotland has just been a magnificent acquisition.
Look, there have been a number of players over the years who clubs have let go and then lived to regret it.
45 degrees the angle. Let me paint the picture for you here. 45 degrees the angle. He'll be shooting from about 48 metres. Houlihan, not the most reliable of kicks. Let's follow this one on its path. Let me tell you, it's tracking, and he has slotted it through a goal.
Well, the misery continues for the West Coast Eagles, Glenn. They needed to get on the board early in this third term. They just need a spark, some excitement, and we're not sure where it's coming from at the moment.
Well, I get the feeling that John Worsfold might be prepared to have a bit of a shootout, but I just don't think that that's the way for the West Coast Eagles players to really get themselves back into the game. I think they really have to clamp down one-on-one and look to present at every opportunity and cause a contest where possible.
Great running from Ryan Houlihan. We saw him contest at defensive 50, then push forward to present himself.
Well, if you're going, let me tell you, Glenn, if you're going to a shootout, it's imperative you take some guns with you. But the Eagles at the moment, they have very few of them. Cox got it down, but beset upon by a number of Blues. Well, what must he be thinking? Just picking himself up gingerly there was Casey Green. He thought, well, this is one step that I've got, and all of a sudden, crunch. Back in the centre of the ground, the Tools, French and Cox. I still believe Cox is their best option. A quick hand pass out there. A hard-working Walker overran it. Camporelli also run over. Judd got a quick handball, got it to Wirrapunda. In turn, got it to Morrison onto his left foot. An opportunity here. Is there an opportunity? Casey Green waited a turn. He got it across to Embley. A high kick up to half forward. And the Blues, a pelmet formed across half back in the form of Teague onto Houlihan.
Houlihan to the outer side. The mark taken by Spawn. Links up now with Norman, who's kept Phil Matera goalless, in fact possessionless to this point of the game. Johnson spears inside 50. Beautiful kick to Favola. Good pressure from Carroll, brought it to ground. Judd, again harassed by Bannister and Favola, going nowhere. Bounce inside 50 for the Blues. And full credit to Carl Norman. He's had 8 possessions, 5 marks. Phil Matera still on the duck egg, and we've played 4.5 minutes in the third.
Carl Norman has to be congratulated for his work up and at the ball.
French and Cox. Down to Nikoski, the first gamer. And isn't it a contrast for Andrew Walker thinking, gee, league footy's not too bad. I've had 15 touches. This is pretty easy. And poor old Mark Nikoski coming into this in his first game.
Glenn, when does patience run out with Matera? When does the coach say enough's enough?
Look, I think you've got to be looking to make that move very, very soon.
Stevens had it and spent it. Braun takes it to the line. Again, we see the frustration from Nick Stevens. Casey Green coming in to remind him. Stevens could probably remind him he's had 17 touches.
We're already seeing a few moves off the ball with Matera now coming out to centre half forward.
French and Cox over the back of the contest. Again, Scotland into open space for Lappin. Looks up, goes inside 50. Here comes Favola. Good effort from Embley to go back and force a contest. Slung as he kicked it by Spawn, but numbers here for the West Coast Eagles. They're a chance. They haven't had much open space all afternoon. Kerr looks up, will go to 50. Lynch on the lead. Houlihan will cut it off. And at ground level, Sampi and Adkins collide. Cousins under pressure. Houlihan put the body in. Spills to Atkins. Now Fletcher snaps at goal. Misses. The Carlton crowd love it. The Eagles to 5 behinds. We've played 6 minutes, third term. Remarkable.
You know you're doing it tough when your best shot on goal is 1 from 45 on a snap.
I'll tell you something about the respective game plans too, Glenn Manton. Carlton playing good old-fashioned football, if you like. They got their big targets up forward and they kick them long and get them in there quickly. Conversely, the Eagles are taking an eternity.
Couldn't agree more, Sam.
Lappin punts it in short. It's got Scotland. In turn, got Stevens. They waltz out a defensive 50. Atkins arrived late. A high ball. Whitnell the target. The punch away. Effective on that occasion by the Eagles. Running on it there and tackled well. Indiscriminate handball came out. Picked up by Clark. Should have taken the mark. A quick hand pass there by Braun. Goes to Wirrapunda, who's also been quiet. And out to centre wing on the outer side of the ground. Fletcher, who's been inconspicuous as well. Got out wide. And Matera has finally racked up possession number 1. Outside, attacking 50. He'll be looking for a short option. And the big option there is, of course, Quinton Lynch. A high ball. He's given him very little chance. The ball punched away. Taken by Sampi. Across his body. He's at the first. A goal. Well, it came at precisely 7 minutes and 10 seconds into the third quarter. Will that serve as the inspiration, Glenn Manton, for about 5 or 6 quick ones that the Eagles desperately need?
Well, I'm not sure that it can, Sam. At the end of the day, there were 4 or 5 Carlton players there who, I guess, misjudged the ball and allowed Sampi the easy opportunity.
So Sampi and Matera, the Eagles' dynamic duo up forward, must get into the game. West Coast on the board, 7 minutes gone, third term. They trail now by 40 points. Cousins getting his hands on the ball. Now to Wembley. They need to get some consecutive goals to just get some excitement and belief. French to Teague, to half forward. Whitnell the target, with him Hunter. Whitnell couldn't quite bring it down. Johnson at ground level, links up with Walker. Inside 50 for Vola, one hand, couldn't quite. 45 out, pumps the handball back towards Walker. Under pressure, throws it on the left boot. Well, high inside 50. McDougall at ground level, Whitnell. Camporelli and Judd. Now Cousins, defensive goal square to Carroll. And discretion the better part of valour on that occasion.
It's a smart move to take it through for a point. There's no need to try and be a superstar in that situation.
8-4 to 1-5. Ruapunda with the kicking in duties.
No one on the mark here.
They're happy to concede the short one. They know that Ruapunda's so dangerous when he thumps it long. They're huddling at centre-half back, the West Coast Eagles. Now they're pushing towards the broadcast side. And he goes straight up the middle. Ooh. Watch for the West Coast runners at the back of the contest. French did well to stop that. That's the plan. They bomb it long. West Coast midfielders peel off to either side. Hope the ball goes over the back of the zone and they're away and running. But on that occasion, Barnaby French stood tall, foiled the plan. Morrell third man up. McDougall in there as well. Concedes a free kick. It's going to Barnaby French. Cox furious. The free kick I don't think was against Dean Cox. A little stiff on that occasion. French. Inside 50. Camporelli, the target, did well. Protected the drop zone of the ball. Got the hands free. Gave Braun just a little shove. And then focused back on the footy.
He's a very, very good target up forward, Scott Camporelli. He does present well and he's very much underrated as a marking player. Takes a strong mark, often under immense pressure.
14 possessions this afternoon for Camporelli.
He can play tall. Glenn, you're right.
He's kicked 5 goals, 2 this season. From 35 out directly in front. Low into the breeze. And guides it home for another major. Camporelli gets his first. The Blues get their 9th. The Carlton Social Club are happy. It's the Blues by 47 points.
It'll be interesting to see once again, Sam, if John Worsfold continues to persist with the 2 players behind the ball, the likes of Ruapunda just playing behind the ball at this centre bounce setup.
Well, there's some ominous signs weather-wise as some nimbus clouds are rolling in over Optus Oval, but I suggest there be some darker clouds even into the coach's box at the Eagles. 9-4-58 Carlton, an emphatic lead over the West Coast Eagles, 1-5-11. From what we've seen thus far, you'd think it's all over, but let's not be premature. Cox to the impressive in this place. I really love this guy. There's a long kick by Johnson up to half forward, but Ruapunda stood tall for the West Coast Eagles at half back. He swings it back across to the half back line to young Nikoski. He steps outside 50, takes a bounce, runs his full complement, looks for an option further afield, found big Cox, and Cox did well too. He's caught underneath the ball, and now he's anchored, wondering to farm it off, but there's no runners there. They're all well covered. The work ethic of Carlton has been absolutely superb. So Cox, centre wing on the member side of the ground, kicks long and bombs. Targets back there, very, very few. Plenty of Carlton players at ground level. Houlihan did well. He's got young Walker running for him. Walker growing in stature and in confidence, takes a bounce and squares the ball. Not a very, very good kick. Park himself underneath it. And I think that will be a mark. It'll be paid to Braun. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground. Ruapunda runs for him. He's ignored. Spears it into the half forward line. Looking there. And finally, a classical bit of play plays off where Lynch on a lead has taken the mark. What are his stats? Quinton Lynch, I doubt very much whether he's had very much of the ball. In fact, I think he's had no more than 2 or 3 possessions. But he'll have an opportunity now from 55 metres out on a very, very little angle to speak of. An opportunity to register the Eagles' second goal. 1-5-11 to 9-4-58. Now a very, very important kick coming up for the Eagles. Very, very deliberate. I don't think the distance will be a problem. Certainly execution. as, look at the, well, in fact, distance will be a problem. Underneath it and taking a very safe mark, Big Barnaby French, camped in the last line of defence, has taken a mark in front of Cox. He'll relieve the pressure momentarily, wedged it on the boundary line, kicks long outside defensive 50 on the member's side. Stevens up high, couldn't quite take the ball. Picked up by Fletcher. Spears it, in fact, it was Teague. Spears in the ball, opportunity for Atkins. Atkins bombs it up into the hot spot. Right into the teeth of goal. Packer plays, but I think the wind might have drifted across. I think this might have gone over. It has. A goal. Well, Glenn, I might have been premature in writing them off, but, well, they need 2 or 3 quick ones in conjunction with that one, but a fine goal.
Look, a goal registered on the board, but I think the disappointing thing for West Coast Eagles fans is that Morrison is continually on his own. They're zoned off him continually all day, and the West Coast Eagles players are not lowering their eyes and looking towards their forward line as a number of options instead of just a series of sticks.
Atkins gets a goal. Fantastic goal from the boundary line. 41 points now the margin. Judd out of the middle. Can they get the engine going? A high ball inside 50. Atkins there again. Went early. Spills to the back. Matera dangerous. Norman in pursuit. Houlihan there as well. Can't break the tackle. Flipped it back towards the voice of Atkins. Teague takes him to the line. Again, great pressure, great numbers around the ball for the Blues.
It's the first example of the West Coast Eagles forward thrust in which all players had one opponent and one opponent only.
So Carl Norman drawn to the contests where Phil Matera is at his most dangerous. Could have paid the penalty, but it didn't sit on that occasion. Teague out of the ruck. Judd tried to pinch it. It's alive at ground level. Sampion over the top. Ball up 45 metres out from the West Coast goal. Cold and windy conditions here at Optus Oval this afternoon. But if you're a Carlton fan, wouldn't worry you one bit. Judd tries to swoop again. We see Bannister right by his shoulder. The mental application from the Carlton midfielders this afternoon has been impeccable. If you just had have lapsed, Judd was away, open goal West Coast. Bannister sticking to the task at hand. Here's Judd again, and again he's besieged. Camporelli got a piece of him.
It's not one Carlton tackle, it's 3, it's 4 Carlton tackles. It's a gang tackling approach, not only to Judd, but the entire West Coast team.
So the tackles for the quarter, 9-3 in favour of Carlton. 43-26 for the game in favour of the Blues, which is an indictment on West Coast, given Carlton have also had 40 more possessions and controlled the play. Umpire goes down. French, quick kick out of trouble. Only as far as Walker. And now Camporelli. Around the city side. It's a 2-on-2. Morrell flies. Prendergast went to ground. Opened it up for Kerr. It's been a try this afternoon. McDougall. Nikoski. Kerr, look at the pressure they're under. Going around in circles. Carlton hunting in packs. Kerr tumbles towards half forward. Blues have got numbers back again. Teague run down by Morrison. It's still alive for Fletcher. Scotland lingered in the tackle. Stevens, Sampi, quick hands to Embley. It is hard yards for the Eagles at the moment. Stevens again into open space. Spawn got boot to ball, and now we've got a foot race. Cousins, he's pressured. Camporelli won the ball. Now gets free and chalk up a win to the Blues, albeit momentarily. And Kerr takes the relieving mark at half back.
So Kerr with the ball. Certainly played at a frenetic pace this game. He's got Morrison anchored on centre wing on the member's side, accepts the pass and spears it into half forward. But what a poorly weighted kick, and Teague, easy as you like, in front of McDougall, takes the relieving mark. Well, just at the moment, the momentum doesn't seem to be with the Eagles, Glenn.
No, the difference there, McDougall not prepared to lead forward, a stationary target for the entry into 50.
You saw it for yourself there, no pressure applied. Houlihan, the easiest of marks, across the lap in a more central position. So Carlton very, very happy with themselves. Another spearing pass further afield of Prendergast. Well, plenty of space, plenty of latitude given to Carlton. And now the Favola lead will be the object. He leads inside 50, a perfect pass, and he has marked it. And let me tell you, he's on a very, very acute angle. Barely daylight between the uprights, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility that this guy might slot it through. It's an impossible kick for anyone else, but distance certainly won't be a worry, Glenn.
I'd be surprised, Sam, if he went for a direct shot at goal. I wouldn't be surprised if he hooked it towards the top of the square at the last moment.
No, you're too smart for me, Glenn, because that's not in the coach's manual. It's always a centering kick to the hot spot, as we call it in contemporary football. When I played, I would have kicked it. Have a look at the Favola kick from 55. almost through. Plenty of numbers slotted it across for the Eagles. So a minor score.
There's Jordan Bannister running with Chris Judd. Bannister has had 9 possessions, Judd the 10. Judd 4 clearances, Bannister 3. So Dennis Pagan will be delighted with that matchup.
Wirrapunda out to Embley, being hotly pursued by Favola. Almost grabbed. Oh, great second effort. And he's been pinged. Well, Embley, and that has just epitomised a quick kick into the forward line, looking there for Cambriale. But that second effort of Favola has really just told the tale here, Glenn Mountain.
And it all comes about because the player looked up and saw Teague, Lappin, Houlihan all on their own, forming a zone.
Another attacking opportunity for the Blues. French and Cox. Over the back, Camporelli went off the deck. Kerr besieged. Ball up. Clearances 23 apiece. Inside 50s almost dead level as well, 34-32. Yet the Blues lead by 7 goals. Says something about the transition of play, the way the game has been moved around in general play as to why the Blues have been so dominant. Camporelli links up with Spawn. Back towards the goal square. Off the hands of Hunter. McCormick soccers off the ground for Vola. Volleys it through. He's got 4. They're enjoying their football this afternoon, the Blues, and why wouldn't they? They lead by 8 goals. Approaching time on in the 3rd term. Their persistence and their work ethic have been a trademark in the first 4 weeks, with the exception of the second half last week against the Bombers. But good to see from the Carlton perspective, Glenn, they're back on their game this afternoon.
Absolutely, and they're back on it as a team, and I think that's the important factor to consider here. No one individual, maybe aside from a Matthew Lappin, has shone out.
Brendan Favola with 4 goals. Recovered from a horror opening term. Gritted his teeth and bounced back better than ever. He's kicked 4. He's the leading goal scorer in the game. The rest all singles for the Blues. DeLuca in the ruck. Up against Seaby, the backhander. Crashing through was Scotland. Tackle came from Kerr. And Kerr won the football. Good play. Inside 50. Kick disadvantaged Adkins. Houlihan tracks it back in his usual laconic style. Happy to get it to the line. Adkins did well. Did well to keep it alive for Morrison. Kick was touched. Waters, that'll be play on. Handball over the top to Lynch. Lynch snaps at goal and puts it out of bounds on the full. Opportunity goes begging once again, and Ryan Houlihan on that occasion just a little bit too laconic, getting it to the boundary line and killing it.
Well, he's known for his slow and, I guess, hip style, and unfortunately on that occasion didn't pay dividends.
Well, the West Coast tale of woe continues in front of goal. Bowyer brings the ball back into play. High ball just being held up, and Rees might have picked up there. Punts away, an opportunity for Kerr. He's worked hard. In the scrum, the kick by Morrison, well smothered there. The Blues are ferocious, absolutely ferocious, with a manic obsession to get over the line. Stevens, and just gets the ball and kicks into vacant territory. The race for the ball. Atkins and also Scotland. Scotland, who's ridden into the ground. Picked it up, an opportunity here for Nikoski onto his left hand. He handballs it inboard, got it to Hunter, back to Nikoski, the 1-2, across his body, up the half forward. Well trapped there by Judd. Oh, he's well tackled by Spawn, brought the ground, and that is a throw. Now, Glenn Mountain, that is just ferocious tackling.
Well, it's just one of the game's more simple traits done to perfection.
The ball up to centre wing, picked up by Hunter. Got it across to the Eagles, deep into attack now. Over the top, almost a fine mark. Picked up by Lappin in the scrum. That handball got it to Spawn inside defensive 50. A hurry kick to the centre of the wing, centre wing. And numbers are plenty, the Blues, in the form of Prendergast, who takes the mark. And they will set up another forward sortie, the Blues. So
Prendergast spent plenty of time on the bench this afternoon. Introduced into the game in this quarter. And he goes to Whitnall and Lance. 5th possession, 3rd mark for Lance Whitnall. There's a bit of holding off the ball. There's going to be a free kick. It's going to come back.
Glenn, I'd just like to ask one thing. You made mention of it at half-time. When Whitnall's at half-forward, look, statistically, he might have had a great game, but his sheer presence just gives Carlton a lift.
Look, everybody knows if you give Lance an inch, he'll take a mile. So it's quite obvious that if you have to play on Lance, you have to play on him closely, and you give him the space and he'll make you pay.
And DeLuca, the 3rd tall inside 50 for the Blues. It's a good-looking setup.
How promising too.
It's a good-looking setup. DeLuca goes to the top of the goal square. Favola, the next link in the chain at ground level. McCormack tried to pounce. Camporelli in there lurking with intent as well. Eagles pile in, and we will have a bounce. And they've got some flexibility. Last year it was all about Brendan Favola. He kicked 63 goals, had a great year. But this year he's got Whitnell, he's got DeLuca, and at times Morel to push forward and just provide some options.
It diversifies the entry and it also puts backmen under pressure, and the game is about putting your opponents under pressure.
Bounce at the top of the square. Seaby and DeLuca. Comes down to Davies through traffic. Thought about going himself. Flipped it backwards. Tapped on by Wirpunda. Braun bumped off the path of the ball. Houlihan in there working hard. McCormick and Davies. Spills free. Nikoski. Now Fletcher through traffic. No one to give it to. Now links up with Seaby. Over the top to Braun. Back to Fletcher. The smother comes again. Great persistence from the Blues. And that is indicative of the story of the afternoon. In the end, the West Coast win themselves a free kick. But really, if you have to see how this game was played, right there you saw a 30-second snapshot. Braun. Again, the Blues working hard. It was Walker. Keeps it alive. Houlihan will come across. Green in best position. Spills to Stevens. And he misses. But the Blues, just by sheer pressure, determination and mental will, win themselves a score. Stevens couldn't quite convert. It was a behind.
Well, there'll be 22 forlorn West Coast Eagles players boarding Qantas fleet of trek across the Nullarbor this evening. Right, the long kick, and this is what they're very proficient at. The mark has been marked by Kerr. By hand, he gives it to Judd. Judd goes out wide to centre wing on the outer side. The mark taken by Hunter. Got it across to Braun, back to Hunter, inside 50. This is a promising build-up. And Matera has marked. Finally got away from his nemesis in Norman. But he's too far out. In fact, he's a big torpedo into the teeth of goal. At the back, did very well, the Carlton defence. Plenty of fish there, the former Prendergast, and gets the justified rewards with a pat in the back from his teammates.
You've just got to wonder, Sam, and in your humble opinion, do you think a torpedo punt's the best entry into the forward 50?
I totally concur with you. It is not.
Seen it twice now.
Yes, but such is the frustration. The ball brought the ground, opportunity overrun there by the Eagles. Scotland at ground level tries to get rid of it. An opportunity here for the West Coast, but they're quickly bottled up. And on that occasion, no opportunity here for Staker, who's been relatively quiet. The ball thrown up right on their attacking 50. Picked up by Staker. Got no idea. This way, that way. Finally farms it off to Judd, who's stationary. He can't mount anything up, so he's compelled to kick a high ball into the hot spot. Punched away by Norman at ground level. An opportunity here for the Blues. And they do very well through Big DeLuca, who's a wonderful find. Out wide to Canterbury Alley. Healthy pursued there by Braun. Onto his right foot, a deft little kick to Walker. He's just one of the greatest debuts you've seen for a long while. And the pass comes into McCormick in a more central position. They move the ball on quickly to Big Lance. A couple of West Coast Eagles come across to smother that forward sortie. Picked up by Kerr. A long ball, centre wing on the outer side. Gave his teammate no chance at all. And Braun rightfully looks up into total perplexity and says, mate, what was that all about when you had ample opportunity to deliver? So the boundary throw-in, centre wing on the outer side. Carlton 10-6-66, 2-5-17, about to register their second victory in 2004. The ball brought down to ground. Judd still working very hard. A mark missed there by Stevens on that occasion, or Scotland in fact it was. The loose ball. An opportunity here for Atkins, almost run down. Hurried boot the ball into the forward line. Matera almost a mark. A hurried kick off the ground indiscriminately. And the Carlton defence through Thornton and then Lappin rushed the ball through for a minor score, much to the glee of the Carlton supporters in the Legend stand.
And here's the looseness out of full back. Not picking up anyone.
Desperation's infectious. It certainly swept through the Carlton side this afternoon. Lappin to Scotland. Just prepared to work for their teammates. Spawn's been fantastic as well. He'll go to 50. Whitnell. It was an advantage free kick. Mattered little. Whitnell plays on. Goes towards the square. Prendergast at the back of the contest. McDougall did well. Carroll taken down by Favola. Now Wirpunda to set up from half back. Nikoski. Back to Wirpunda's got some numbers on the wing. Goes to Braun. Fletcher's further afield. He'll go longer than that towards Adkins. Got a couple of metres on Walker. Walker closing off his hands and out of bounds. Andrew Walker up to 21 possessions. An auspicious debut from the youngster.
There's a reason, Glenn, why they kept that number one in mothballs for a while.
Well, he certainly earned it here today.
It's a great honour at the Carlton Football Club. As you mentioned, Sergio Silvani, Stephen Silvani. 551 games between them, a record for a father-son combination. Lappin, kick smothered by Braun. His hands and knees. Davies piling in, Johnson in there as well. Ball up
It's been interesting to see the Carlton players, when they are tackling, when the ball is in close, trying to get their hands on the ball to prevent it squirting out and allowing the West Coast Eagles to run.
DeLuca, very impressive youngster. Cousins pinched it on this occasion. Now to Braun. Hoiks it inside 50. Staker will fly from the back. There were numbers at the front for West Coast, but they didn't get a kindly bounce. Camporelli hacks it towards the wing. Great gather from David Clark, and then an equally good smother from McDougall. Kerr. McCormack committed himself. McDougall goes back. Handy pick up from a big man. Now to Cousins. Arched the back. Slipped away and gave it to Weirpunda. And he finds Hunter, 55 from goal. Matera at the top of the square. Norman his shadow. Again, Hunter just looking for an option to present himself on the lead.
This disposal could just about sum up the West Coast Eagles game.
In the end, he doesn't have an option. He'll have to go back and thump it through himself. Adam Hunter. Lance Whitnell stands 55 metres out from goal. He's going to go with the torpedo. Hunter launches into it. Plenty of distance, but clipped it off the instep. And out of bounds on the full. Another quarter of great endeavour from the Blues. West Coast scrapping hard. Carlton adding 3 goals, 3. The Eagles adding 2 goals, 2. And at the final change, it's Carlton 10-6-66. The Eagles 2-6-18. Final term at Optus Oval, the Blues by 48 points. Cox the tap. Sampi had an air swing. It was taken by Camporelli. He slammed it on his boot. Gained 25 metres. Clark. Water slides in. Clark got the hands free. Spawn. Sampi over the top of it as well. Johnson arrives. He's trying to extract it from the congestion. Nothing doing. And a ball up 75 metres out from the Carlton goal. Umpire throws it up quickly. Spawn the third man up. Got it going forward for the Blues. Walker on the bounce. Thought about the give to Johnson. Went himself inside 50. Favola to the pocket with Carroll by his shoulder. Out of bounds for a throw in. There's Bannister. He's not left Chris Judd's side all afternoon. Done a wonderful tagging job on him and managed to get some of the football himself. As you mentioned, he's had 9 possessions of his own. Judd's had 13 for the Eagles, but all under pressure. Whitnell slapped it forward into the path of Clark. He ran over the top of it. Kerr. Quick 1-2 with Cox. And now Kerr from defensive 50. Tumbles it towards half-back. Judd at the back. Again, Bannister with him. Beats him to the ball. Wanted to link up with Lappin, who went to ground. Teague can go back to Bannister. Always numbers in support this afternoon, Carlton. Bannister, clever handball through traffic to Spawn. High ball inside 50. Favola with 3 to beat. McDougall over the top. Weirpunda to tidy up, and he links up with Cousins.
Yes, Cousins, who's worked hard for his possessions, tries to spear it a pass, couldn't get it to Waters, and coming across once again in numbers. And Spawn, of course, that over the line and out of bounds for a boundary throw in just inside, outside attacking 50.
You have to think that the West Coast Eagles have a lack of presence on the field today, a lack of voice, because the switch was definitely on there for Cousins.
Without a dead, Cox used his ample frame to outmanoeuvre his opponent. A hurry kick by Lappin inside attacking 50 for Favola in front there. Tries to have a fresh air shot, but Carroll was ever present and he's battled hard. It's been quite an enduring contest that between those two, and I would say the points with Favola at the moment. The boundary throw in about 25 metres around from the Carlton goal. They lead 66-18. Cox and DeLuca over the top. The ball is punched away down towards the boundary line by McDougall. And once again, we have a stalemate. But the Carlton fans and the Carlton Brains Trust will be quite content to be playing just this type of football at the moment, because all the cards are in their favour. Once again, DeLuca over the top. An opportunity here for Sampi. Twists and turns, a hurry kick, centre wing on the outer side, and great body movement there by Judd. Outmanoeuvred his opponent Bannister on that occasion to take a timely mark. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground. They'll be trying to build something. Building they are. And a long kick up to half forward. Not many targets there. And the Carlton, a wonderful mark taken on that occasion by Spawn. Well, all they're going to build with that sort of play is about a 1-bedroom flat in Dandenong. So a quick handball. Two bounces coming across the centre wing in Scotland. It's been a wonderful acquisition for the Blues. And Carlton now, Clark on a lead with pace. Allows the bounce in front of him. Tries to trap it. Hotly pursued by his opponent on that occasion. Probably their best player is Kerr for the Eagles. Kerr gets a hurry kick into vacant territory, centre wing in the member stand. Wirapunda runs onto it, almost run down, but he's good enough to get away from the tackle and spears in a pass to half forward, and it has been taken there by Atkins. Atkins between centre wing and the half forward line on the Social Club side of Optus Oval, kicks a long ball and poked away by Norman, picked up there by Teague, and he just tricks a well-measured 20-metre kick parallel with a boundary line that runs over the line and out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
You asked me earlier, Sam, if I would leave Materia on, and I said I'd probably take him off. What would you do?
Well, I would totally be in agreement with you because you're far wiser counsel than I am, Glenn.
Lean day for Materia, 3 possessions, 2 marks. Braun from the congestion. Hooks it high inside 50, off the hands of Teague. Fletcher roving, links up with Cousins, tight on the boundary line, looking to square it up. Here is Phil Materia. Tries to get around Teague, can't do so. Cousins hemmed in on the boundary line. To the top of the goal square. Numbers there for West Coast. Judd at ground level. Stevens, did he take him high? Umpire will call for a bounce.
Unfortunate for Ben Cousins there. Really wanted to square it up and bring it back into the corridor. Unable to find any teammates present in that position.
Ashley Sampi, a shirt front. Down the front of Scott Camporelli. Norman missed it. Braun, quick snap out of the ruck contest. Bends it around. And goals. So some disappointing ruck work from the Blues. The door open for Michael Braun and John Worsfold. Well, he has made the move. Phil Materia off. And Michael Braun kicks West Coast's 3rd goal of the afternoon. It was a scrappy, nothing piece of play. In the end, he slammed it on the boot, bent it back nicely. And West Coast have their 3rd.
It was a very, very nice shot at goal and a terrific finish, a creative finish, but it's the ruck work and I guess the lack of discipline in the ruck contest that allowed the goal to take place.
Carl Norman going up, having a fresh air swing in the ruck. Ball spilt to Braun, and he goaled. DeLuca back in the ruck against Cox. Beautiful palm down to Camporelli. And now Johnson will go inside 50. Nikoski at the front, drop the mark. Under some pressure, weaves his way through traffic, goes for a run, the youngster. High ball, tough ask for Embley. Fists from all directions, spills towards Norman. Wants to link up with Davies and does so at defensive 50. And he'll square it up to DeLuca, who again has been prominent this afternoon. His 11th touch. Such a good mover for a big man. Favola the target at centre-half forward. Open forward 50 for Clark. Off one step. Tugs it left. The ball goes out of bounds.
I think Carlton supporters would be quite excited to have a good look at DeLuca and compare him to maybe a Scott Lucas. Sam, I think he moves very, very much in the same vein as Scott Lucas from Essendon.
Yeah, a good analogy, Glenn. As the boundary throw in about 15 metres around from the Carlton goal. They're deep into attack as Cox farms it out, taken by Johnson. Was he held out the ball? No, says the umpire, much to the chagrin of the Carlton supporters. Taken by Sampi, a long kick out wide, and he has got his teammate out there in Beau Waters. Waters wastes no time, kicks it out to half forward. Well, he had to do it all on his own there on that occasion. Atkins, 3 Carlton players surrounding him, taken there by Lapp, an easy as you like, chip kick over the top, and has been taken by Bowyer. Was it right on the line? The boundary umpire said no. Unfortunately, you're over. So it is out on the full, and Atkins with the free kick. Centre wing on the outer side. A long pumping kick, inside attacking 50. The target is Embley, almost a mark. The loose ball taken by Staker, wrapped up quickly by Camporelli. Back there to Judd, twisting and turning. Farms out a handball, they concede about 20 metres. Taken by Cox. Cox to Sampi, steps up to 50. Long kick on goal. A long kick. Has he drilled it? He has. A goal.
Class of Ashley Sampi there, Sam. Didn't that just stand out from the crowd?
Indeed so, and probably the, dare I say, Glenn, but probably the most passaging, the single most promising passage of play by the West Coast Eagle. It took them about three and a half quarters to conjure it up, but it was fairly promising.
Well, it was an explosive electric passage, and that's, I guess, the trademark of a West Coast Eagles team, and we haven't seen that today at all.
Ashley Sampi becomes West Coast's first multiple goal scorer of the afternoon. The margin back to 6 goals. Cox the tap. Camporelli went to Lappin, turned his back. A miscommunication let West Coast in. Cox and Braun in there fighting hard again. Sampi and Braun fighting each other. Stevens gets hands on the ball. DeLuca, good below his knees, but coughed it up on this occasion to Judd. Now Fletcher. West Coast starting to get some forward movement, and the mark taken by Staker. We've played 8 minutes in the final term. West Coast is starting to get a little bit of flow into their game. The margin is 6 goals. Staker from 55 metres out. They'll contest at the top of the square. Big pack of players and a mark to Judd. And the signs just in the last couple of minutes starting to look better for the West Coast Eagles.
Well, at the top of the show, Jason, we spoke about the importance of Judd to the West Coast Eagles team and the ability of him and a few of his teammates in the form of Embley to push forward. Now, Embley's not on the ground. Judd has pushed forward, and he's providing that option in a similar vein to Camporelli.
This to make it 5 goals. Plenty of time left in this game. Judd converts. Eagles get back-to-back goals. Judd gets his first. And you just never know. The margin 30 points at the 9-minute mark of the final term. They can kick goals in a hurry if they can get on top in the middle.
As any team can, but the dangerous thing now is for the Carlton players to drop their heads. The West Coast Eagles, as we see the ball fly into the forward line and Judd take a very, very strong mark at the front of the pack. Bannister should have been a bit more aware of his arms in that situation. But this is the opportunity the West Coast have been looking for all day. Has it come with enough time on the board?
Well, this will be interesting. This will be a test for these youthful Carlton side, where they have the maturity now to really hold strong. The Eagles have really mounted a challenge in the centre bounce. Cox, who's been very good. But DeLuca got the ball down, a hurry kick by Johnson up to half forward. Scotland did well, got to farm the ball out, got it to Prendergast by hand to Whitnall. Intercepting there was Nikoski. And once again they bottle it up, the Blues. The Eagles at a golden opportunity went begging there for the Blues. An indiscriminate handball failing to find its target.
Carlton must lock the ball in here. They can't allow it to spill out.
The ball bounced. DeLuca over the back of Prendergast. Wirapunda did very well, twisting and turning. Got the ball up. Teague overran it. Taken there by Spawn. A hurried handball into vacant territory. Bromman opportunity. Got a kind bounce. Ran onto it. Picked it up onto his left foot. Across his body. Up to half forward. Running onto it now was that high to Atkins? The umpire says, cool it, boys. And coming in to remonstrate was Bo Waters. No, the free kick, in fact, will go to Atkins. A high kick into the forward line. Teague! Over the top, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, and took a fantastic mark. A relieving mark. He had to take it, otherwise, well, we're off and running. And there's a 15-metre penalty against the West Coast Eagles, against Lynch for holding, in fact, against, yes, Quinton Lynch for holding it up. So they'll come right out. And the ball will now be taken by Teague between centre half back and the centre of the ground. An opportunity to set something up. 10-6, 66 Carlton. West Coast 5-6, 36. 11.5 minutes of lapse in this final term. So Teague with the ball. He'll go long, and he does. The half-forward line. To the lead of Whitnall, but there's plenty of West Coast Eagles players there. A hurried handball. Intercepted there by Kerr. Bo Waters with the ball. Back to Kerr onto his right foot. And a spearing kick to the centre wing on the outer side. Looking there for his teammates in Judd. But the ball, unfortunately, runs over the line and out of bounds for another boundary throw-in. Centre wing on the outer side of the ground.
What a vital mark from Teague in the context of this game, Glenn. Would have been a goal to the West Coast Eagles, back to 4 goals the difference. And Carlton just a little sloppy with possession at the moment. They're starting to feel the pressure as West Coast surge. They need a goal just to steady themselves. Scotland, a high ball for Vola. Tracking out, takes it just inside 50. Tough kick from there, but as we know, Brendan Favola probably the biggest set shot kick for goal in the competition at the moment.
Not only a great set shot, but the ability to come forward and be in front for that marking contesting position, I guess. And you see a couple of West Coast Eagles players to the right of screen. They're really not dropping back into the hole to help out their fullback on that occasion. Here's
a booming kick. The Breeze will just bring it back in towards the goal face from this angle. And sit it up at the top of the square. And let the Breeze give it a bit of a ride. Favola from 55 out, on its way. It is a booming kick, and he has gold. Favola's got 5. Wrote it in on the Breeze perfectly.
Well, the Carlton players now have half a quarter in which they can really build some confidence within themselves as individuals and within the team structure. This is the opportunity the Carlton Football Club has been waiting for nearly 2 years, where they've got a tough opponent on the ropes, an opportunity to go back and enjoy their football.
Yes, Walker's off there for the Blues, and what a magnificent debut. Walker off and Houlihan back on. And you're right, Glenn, this is a golden opportunity now to have a sense of belief and a sense of belonging. 2 years they've been in the wilderness, but a victory of this magnitude over some very, very highly touted opposition will do them psychologically wonders. The ball working hard there is Braun, got it out to Cousins. Well, he just had nowhere to go, and he's ridden into the ground. Was that holding the ball? No, says the umpire. But Justin Davies, and down to ground level and Tiffany.
Walker just getting his calves. Obviously, he's done a lot of running in this game, and he's just having a nice, quiet breather.
Tiffany Sherry at ground level as the ball picked up by Scotland. Scotland a high ball, centre wing on the members' side. Houlihan underneath it, Cousins, and also back there was Lukoski, picked up by Cousins at ground level. He runs, being tacked there by Carlton, and in Morrell, a long kick, and it's been marked by Teague. He's been very good across half-back, Glenn.
He certainly has. Norman running down the field. He'll receive the ball here.
Bowyers gets the mark, centre wing on the outer side. Squaring kick up to half-forward. Favola the target. Couldn't quite tap it at ground level. But there was Campriali. Campriali got it across there to Favola, across his body. Has a shot on goal. Just pulled it to the left a little bit.
I was quick to call Norman's name there, Sam, but such has been the nature of the Carlton backline, just streaming forward all day. On that occasion, Norman, 20 metres on his opponent, in the clear, another option. Carlton electing to go down the corridor, a good move, but Norman, an ever-present force, if you will, from the backline.
Almost 15 minutes gone, final term. Carlton 73, the West Coast Eagles 36. That little foray and that 5 minutes of momentum that the Eagles had has been stymied by the Blues now as Wirapunda chips to himself, kicks long to half back, looking there for McDougall, punched away by the Carlton defence. Lappin very quick hands to Scotland. Scotland trying to break the tackle there of Hunter, picked up by Braun. Braun quickly got it across to a teammate, intercepted by Scotland. Scotland into the teeth of goal, but the ball eludes both Favola and his opponent Trent Carroll and over the line and out of bounds.
Well, Digby Burrell on the possession sheet certainly doesn't register very strongly with only 6 possessions, but it was his first initial spoil and then follow-up tackle that keeps it in Carlton's forward line.
He's ducked off the contest, Morrell. We saw it there. He's by himself at the top of the goal square. If Johnson can get it back to him, he can't. Carroll runs it out. Umpire says throw in. Morrell still by himself, 3 metres out from goal. There's not a West Coast player anywhere near him. In fact, he's hiding behind the goalpost, Digby Morrell, and not one West Coast player has seen him. Have a look at that.
It's incredible play.
Could be interesting. If Carlton can get possession and get it to the square, West Coast have got a problem.
Still by himself.
And he's still there. He now comes out. Fortunately for West Coast, Embley ran Spawn down. Morrell made his lead. He showed his hand. He came bolting out as soon as he saw that Spawn was going to get it. He's still on his own. Daniel Kerr is now screaming at his teammates to get back and pick him up. McDougall now will do so. Eagles dodge a bullet. Nikoski gets a Shepherd through traffic to half forward. Bowyer and Adkins at ground level. It spills through the contest. Adkins lost his man Bowyer. Can trot in from 20 metres out and hammer it through for a goal. Adkins gets his second. A relatively soft goal for the West Coast Eagles in the context of this game.
Look, a good finish, though, by Atkins, and he deserves that goal. I think he's fought hard all day, but you get the feeling with the Digby Morrell incident that McDougall might have been counting to 50 instead of 25.
He's his man. McDougall still standing on Morrell. It was remarkable and very fortuitous for the West Coast Eagles. The Blues didn't get hands on the football. As it turned out, West Coast got it going their own way, and Atkins kicks his second goal. Marching back to 31 points. We've played 17 minutes in the final term at Optus Oval.
Yes, a belated goal by the Eagles, and that's not enough to inspire their loyal throng. A hurry kick across his body there by Casey Green, centre wing on the members' side. Cousins failed to pick up the first time, ridden down by Houlihan. Picked up well there by Davies. Davies up to half forward. Morrell at ground level just struggles a tad. Picked up by McDougall. Got it across to Wirapunda. And off. The ball's a free kick to McCormick. That was sloppy, undisciplined football by McDougall, and that'll earn the wrath of his coach, no doubt, in John Worsfold. Interesting to see if he stays on the ground. McCormick for Carlton, inside 50, looking for Favola. The ball eludes all and sundry, taken by Cox at the back with superior judgment. Handballs it off the Kerr. Arguably the West Coast Eagles' best player. In turn to Wembley. They're being wedged onto the half-back line. Hurried kick up to half-back. Looking there for a teammate. Twisting and turning into open territory. The loose ball. Plenty of Blues here. Picked up by Scotland. A centering kick. Morrell the target. And Morrell ample purchase, vice-like grip, takes a terrific mark despite the efforts of Daniel Kerr. So an opportunity from 40 metres out to kick directly in front. Carlton's 12th goal.
Digby Morrell showing he's equally adept at taking a mark as he is at playing hide and seek, and I've got no doubt he'll go back and slot this one home and be a fitting disposal.
And he was 10 metres in the clear again. Shrugged his man McDougall, just lost him.
Well, McDougall, I'll tell you what, he'll be in the video room first thing Monday morning, I'm sure, unless he gets him there earlier, because there were a couple of terrible indiscretions on his behalf. He gave away a shocking free kick, and then a lack of attention to detail, picking up a man when you haven't got the ball. But Morrell has certainly added the dimension, as you heard Glenn Mountain, the former Essendon champion, tell you. Carlton champion as well, as Morrell from 40 metres out puts it on its path. The Carlton fans like it, the umpire likes it, that's all that matters. That's a goal. 12-7-79, 6-6-42. An emphatic victory by the Blues in every conceivable aspect of the game. They've been dominant through the midfield, and really, there probably hasn't been a player down, Glenn.
No, they've had a very strong team performance, and I think the last 20 seconds of off-field movement where Walker has come back onto the ground for Prendergast, who's sprinted off the ground to allow him back on, really summates the entire Carlton structure and team effort today.
Andrew Walker back on the ground, just on the phone to Dennis Pagan. Some words of congratulations and support, no doubt. He can go back out there now and enjoy this last 10 minutes or so of this contest. He's had 22 touches. Big hit from Waters on French. Camporelli wrapped up by Braun, and we'll do it all again in the middle. It's a big unit, Barnaby French.
Strong play by Waters.
Good to see the youngster with some vigour in close. Davies trying to get boot to ball. Cousins had a piece of him. Cox in over the top. Another ball up. Blues by 37 points. Lappin's had 29 possessions. 26 to Scotland, 24 to Camporelli, and 22 to that man Walker. Make it 23. Cue Andrew Walker. Bursts away from the congestion. Inside 50 to Favola. Clears the contest. Houlihan at the back, try to soccer it through. Kerr's been fantastic all afternoon for West Coast. Really has tried hard and goes short to find Quinton Lynch. Lynch will switch play. Finds Cousins for his 25th touch. He's had to work very, very hard for those. Now out to Embley in some space. Embley further down the line to Braun. And Braun looks up. The next kick, the important one. Judd leads hard to the pocket. McCormick gets back with courage and forces a contest. Bannister in over the top of it, wrapping up Casey Green. Chance now for McCormick to go back and win it at ground level. Links up with Teague, who's been super across halfback. Camporelli to the wing. Nikoski in best position. And the first gamer.
He's been impressive, Jason.
Collects his 15th touch. We've made a lot of Andrew Walker. Nikoski has worked hard in a losing side. It's been a much tougher baptism for him than it has for Andrew Walker, that's for sure. But he's kept at his job all afternoon. Shown good application. It spills to Fletcher. Screws it around inside 50. Thornton spilt it. Tidied up by Lappin, who spirals one out to the wing. Walker stands underneath it and takes the mark. Quickly becoming a crowd favourite here at Optus Oval, Andrew Walker. 24th touch coming up.
Yeah, he's earning pop-like status, and rightfully so.
Huge expectation on his shoulders, and he's delivered this afternoon. He delivers to Morrell, who's starting to show a few party tricks of his own in this last term. He's been a useful bit player for the Blues in the opening 5 weeks of the season, Morrell. And he'll go to 50. Favola the target. Carroll's been with him all afternoon. Whitnell and Lynch. The ball trickles out.
Jason, you mentioned bit player, and I think that's a very, very key point. It takes bit players and it takes superstars, and at the moment, Carlton are putting a clear line between their superstars and their bit players, and they're getting it right.
Seaby and French lock horns. The latter gets his hand to the ball, trying to break clear, but to no avail is Brent Staker, and a ball will be affected.
It's a good point, Glenn. They've got some blend into their midfield now. They're not all stars. Bannister, Teague, Morrell, but they're all doing the job allocated to them.
Umpire throws the ball up, taken by Lance. Lance across his body, a high ball. Has it gone the desired distance? Punched away by Seaby. It doesn't matter. No one's marked it at ground level. A hurried kick off the ground by Casey Green into open territory. An opportunity here for Carlton. A long kick in by Houlihan offline for a minor score. Carlton 12-8-80 to 6-6-42.
Period of the game often referred to as junk time. As I've mentioned earlier, for Carlton today, this is confidence building stuff.
Wirapunda with the ball. Our prodigious kick of the football. What will he do on this occasion? The game's certainly been lost. He goes out wide looking for Braun, who's worked hard. Oh, he almost took the mark. Was he impeded? No, says the umpire. Hurry kick off the ground by Embley. About 30 metres parallel with the boundary line. Will it trickle over? Judd got rid of his opponent well. Then put boot the ball hurriedly. Centre wing on the outer side, approaching half forward. Carlton have got numbers there. A quick handball there by Thornton. Got it to Teague, who's very good. High ball, centre wing. Over the top. Almost a terrific mark by the youngster in Walker. Couldn't quite hold on to it. A hurried handball up the ground to Judd. Got it to Embley. Coming through was Wirapunda. He's been tackled. And Carlton relieved the pressure up to half forward. Morrell on his bike. Coming across there for the Eagles. Will he hold on to it? Lynch. Lynch got it across in turn to his teammate in Staker. And Staker works it across. A hurried kick up the ground. Ineffective. Carlton have now got the numbers. Scotland with the ball. A centering kick on his own. Scotland, in fact, was in receipt of the wonderful pass by Walker, who was fantastic, and Scotland from 45 directly in front will line up for Carlton's 13.
Well, it was a fantastic attempt at taking a mark for young Walker, but in a way I'm glad he didn't take it, because it'd be a cherry on top of the cake that he's constructed today, which almost would be unable to be lived up to in, I guess, forthcoming weeks. And his vision and the pickup here that we see, the one clean pickup, and then watch his eyes here as he really seeks someone out and then delivers the ball on a threepenny bit, if you like.
It is a wonderful quality. It's an inherent quality. He's got a sense of presence. Doesn't panic under pressure. A good sign. The kick of Scotland is true. And another goal and another final coffin, nail in the coffin of the West Coast Eagles. 13-8-86 to 6-6-42. And you're right, Glenn. There's some things you just can't teach players. You can improve their skills, but not the intangibles. And I'm talking about presence of mind when you know where you are in relation to, other players, heavy traffic, and they've got that poise and composure. And he certainly has displayed that in his first game.
Absolutely. If you just watch his eyes, watch his head as he works the ball into the forward line. He's always looking to bring someone else into the game, even in his first game for himself.
The Blues by 44 points. French. Seaby. Now to Staker. Went to the voice of Kerr. Little chip kick into the path of Cousins. And he marks.
Had a great game, Kerr, really.
Yeah.
26 touch for Cousins. Kerr's had 25. Fletcher calling for it inboard. He goes to Staker. Can go back to Braun or further afield. There's Fletcher. Was alone for a minute or so. And he speared inside 50. Thornton provided the contest. Brought it to ground. Bounce eluded Davies. Chance now for Casey Green. Links up with Cousins. Off to Waters. Spears inside 50. Embley the target. Read it well. Couldn't quite bring it in. Good shepherd from Atkins, but an equally good tackle from Teague. Bowyer committed the body. Teague goes back. And some of these no-namers for the Blues have been outstanding this afternoon. Houlihan on the overlap to Lappin. Lappin will bomb it long. For Vola. Lynch will get across and cut off the lead. Take the defensive mark at half-back.
I think it's important to note that they may not have great names as individuals, but maybe this is the start of forming a great name as a team.
Carroll. And his work cut out for him on Brendan Favola this afternoon. Has stuck to his guns. Favola's kicked 5. Morrison flips it to the advantage of McDougall. Now releases Waters. He can run to 65. Low trajectory kick to the top of the square, and Bannister icing on the cake for his game this afternoon as well.
Switches on, and guess who?
Walker, listen to the crowd. 26 touch, links up with Camporelli. And now Justin Davies, who's also slotted back into this side neatly. It's opened up through the middle of the ground. Johnson goes to the leader for Favola. Worked under the ball, umpire set over the shoulder. And this one will be within range for Brendan Favola. The man on the mark will stand just inside the forward 50. He's kicked 5 goals too. Presented extremely well since quarter time.
Jason, just as a football follower and commentator, how do you see this Carlton team now?
On the build, Glenn, I think, look, the West Coast performance this afternoon has been lacklustre. I mean, that's fair to say. I think the Blues, as we said before with Sam, the building blocks, you can start to see some building blocks in place for Carlton to now get a structure that will work in the long term. They've certainly, obviously, got a long, long way to go. And look, they'll get a couple of towel ups along the way. It's how they respond. And they've done it well this afternoon after Essendon really did belt them around the ears in the second half last week. So mentally it's been a very promising comeback from the Blues. And Favola for number 6.
You'd expect the crowd to rise should he slot this one home.
Off a couple of steps, kicks through the football. One of the best set shot for goals in the competition, Brendan Favola, 6 of the best. All coming after quarter time. Had a tough opening term, ran into an open goal and missed. Missed a simple chest mark, cost Carlton and himself a couple of goals. So really, when you put it in perspective, could have easily had 8 or 9 this afternoon.
I think you've summed it up in a nutshell there. Nothing more for me to say.
Yes, indeed so. But I'll tell you something, Glenn. Danny Frawley could do a lot worse to get a hold of this video and show to his charges what passion, desire and pride can compensate. You talk about no names, but it can be whatever you lack in actual ability can be more than compensated with a manic obsession to get the pill. Now, Richmond could do a lot worse than just what I've said. Capriali, another hurry kick inside attacking 50. They're in there again. The Blues picked up by Waters, a relieving kick, centre wing, looking there for Braun. He almost took a good mark. In fact, it was Morrison, spilled it, recovered, and then chipped it across to Wirapunda, who's, I don't know about Wirapunda. He's a wonderful player, got a lot of the ball, but you need him up forward where he can really hurt you. He hasn't hurt. He handballed it off quickly there to his teammate in Lynch, who kicked it up to half forward. Sampi, indiscriminate handball. Give it to Judd, who's trying to work a lone hand up forward. He's run into some heavy traffic. A hurried handball picked up there by Cox. A hurry kick into the forward line, hoping more than anything, and the ball trickles over the line and out of bounds adjacent to the right hand behind post. Thornton quite content to let it run over the line for a boundary throw-in.
And a final opportunity here for the Carlton back line to form as a unit and build some confidence.
Yes, well, the siren is imminent. About 18 seconds to go as the boundary throw-in. Thrown back into play. Cox and French, the ball down at ground level. Taken by Cousins. He's held on by Teague. The loose ball picked up on this occasion by Judd, trying to break clear. He does. He farms out the handball. Got it across the glass onto his left foot. And their tale of woe continues in front of goal. A minor score, and there it is, the siren. Carlton victorious by 39 points. 14-8, 92 to 6-7, 43. And the loyal throng surrounding Princes Park or Optus Oval stand as one and applaud their charges. Conversely, the Eagles, a forlorn lot, just trod off very wearily. And Carlton, an emphatic victory by 39 points. 14-8, 92 to 6-7, 43.
Dave, celebration for the Blues. Plenty to like about this result, and not just the final result either. The way they went about this game, they did extremely well. The West Coast Eagles, as we know, have been sluggish starters. But Glenn, unlike in recent weeks, they haven't been able to get back into the game. Well, the man of the day, remember the name, Andrew Walker, 26 possessions, 9 marks. Here he is with Tiff.
Well, Andrew, could you dream of a better debut?
Oh, what a day, like, get out there, all the boys, get around, play the
What went through your mind at the start of the game, and what were you concentrating on?
I was a bit nervous, but I just had to step up that extra level and play the game that I've usually play and did, and it worked. And
indicative of how well you did, the crowd, but also you had a number of opponents on you.
Oh yeah, it's great. I love when people get swapped onto me. It gives it confidence. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
And just a win like this, it gives the team a great lift, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, beautiful. Love it.
Go and enjoy the celebrations. Well done, mate.
They say AFL football's a learning curve. Andrew Walker just learnt 2 very important lessons there. One's take the mouth guard out, and 2's have a good think about what you're saying before it flies out of the front of the mouth. But isn't that just a great part of footy? Andrew Walker, the enthusiasm, the raw excitement that he's had this afternoon. 26 possessions, 9 marks. At the moment, Sam, I'm sure he will never forget this.
Look, every player savours it, and Glenn Manton, everyone vividly recalls their first game. But wouldn't you like to see footage of your first ever interview? Look, he's going to be around for 10 or 15 years, this kid. He's going to look back on this, and this will be an absolute most valuable piece that he'll ever be able to hold.
Look, we don't condone profanity, there's no doubt about that, but it is terrific to see it in, I guess, the correct context. It was emotional, it was just passionately driven, and I don't think there was any ill-toward usage of the word there. It was just a matter of coming out of himself and enjoying the game, and what a way to enjoy it in a real team atmosphere, and good luck to the young fella.
The Blues have been through some tough times in the last 2 years. It is a standing ovation right around Optus Oval. A fantastic performance, and what a contrast to last night when the Tigers trudged off. Carlton fans absolutely delighted. Just raw emotion, excitement and passion within the group. We've said it right throughout the afternoon. They were so determined to do well this afternoon. And, well, for those of us who never had the opportunity to play at senior level, I think we got just a little snapshot then of what it means to play your first game, the sort of excitement that Andrew Walker is experiencing this afternoon. He and Glenn Bowyer will go into the centre circle here. And for Carlton fans, this is one of the better moments they've experienced in the last few years as the Blues sing the song, 49-point winners at Optus Oval.
I'm finished for the day, thank you.
With all the champions.